Woo! Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Great to be here with you on a Friday. Today is January 5th. My name is Woodsy. I am 6 foot 1 inch, and I am full of snot. That's what I am full of. And probably other things, but today am really, really full of snot. I just did that cough and coughed snot onto my hand. So it's great. And I'm sorry to Craig and Annie and everybody else that uses the studio.
Oh, poor Annie.
It's just terrible, man.
Annie sits there
listen,
in particular.
dude,
That's just...
we need Lysol. I need to get the whole thing scrubbed down after I get out of here. I will make sure to do that. I've got some of those wet wipes in the bag. So we'll take care of it. I know the rule is if you feel something, you shouldn't come to work. I can't do that to you guys. It's the first week. I feel okay. I just sound like crap, and I've been, coughing it all up. So I can get through the show, and then the golf, and then the coaching. And Hannah this morning said, I'm gonna just take the kids on a long hike tomorrow. I go, that sounds good. You should probably do that because I gotta sleep to get better. It's the only thing that makes me feel better.
So you've got a 4-hour radio show.
Yep.
And then we're going to Goat Hill for our Wishbone Brawl charity auction match.
Correct.
Then you're going straight to Encinitas for flag football coaching.
Carlsbad, but yes.
Carlsbad, flag football coaching. And then tonight,
nothing.
not going to take Hannah out, clubbing maybe.
We have bottle service tonight, and we're going to go do that. No, I can't. I can't do a nighttime, especially Friday. I just don't like to plan much, and I have 3 things planned today. But it's okay, man. I mean, listen, it's all really good stuff. It's not like, hey, man, you got to lay 4 hours of brick, then you got to go build a fence, and then you need to paint the deck in the backyard, like stuff that I can't.
You got to walk home after all that.
Exactly. So anyway. I told the tier ones, just be gentle today in the chat and on Twitter. You guys are always super gentle. On Twitter and stuff. It's great. That's Paul Reindl over there to my right. He's our executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm tired. It's been a weird
start to the year.
For coming off of 12 days off or whatever we were, and then a short week. I was like, why am I and we are all so gassed this week? And I don't get it. I think a lot of drama over our vacation.
Absolutely.
Wasn't super relaxing.
Yeah, it hasn't really ended either.
It hasn't really ended. Tuesday's show was awful in the sense that I think it was good radio. I think people liked hearing it, and it was nice to be back on the air, but Tuesday's show sucked. I hated the content.
100%.
It wasn't comfortable. And then, we took a Wednesday trip to Los Angeles got home at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Which was awesome, but...
It was fantastic, but we don't ever do that. And I'm like, all right, it's just a lot all built up into 1 week to kick off the year.
Everything all at once is what they say. Benjamin Higgins is your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. This is like normal for him. He's always...
Yeah, not to be contrarian, but this just feels like a normal Friday to me.
You are a giant, massive contrarian.
That's what Woods thinks.
What did he do yesterday? He did it again when we were somewhere. Or you did it at Starbucks or something.
Is the sky really blue?
That's what he does. He does that. I'm like, just quit pushing back.
It's a bad
my wife
radio host habit.
But
so
my
you
wife
always have to push back on
Ben,
everything.
good morning.
No,
it's not a good morning
really?
for everybody. Like,
my wife is a contrarian as well. And I tell her the same thing I tell Ben. I said, sometimes I need you, even if I'm wrong, just agree with me. Just agree with me and say, yeah, that sounds good. And I said, everything doesn't have to be a debate, And it probably does stem from doing radio for a long time. We didn't do the
format in which you're supposed to debate for hours on end.
Yeah, which is the worst kind of radio, in my opinion.
It is.
It's fun when it happens.
We don't do that though. We don't. I think we're both. I think we're both pretty honest and genuine in our opinions. Sure, when we do disagree on something, it's I think a good segment where we can go back and forth and really kind of try to win the argument and give our best points. But if we agree on something, we're going to tell you we agree on something and not just, oh, well, Woodsy, you're going to have to take the other side on this just so we can keep the conversation going. We don't do that.
I don't really subscribe to that method at all. But, man, it's been, like Paulie said, it's been a bit of a long week. Thank you guys for hanging in with us. Certainly not going to come on here and bitch and moan. We're here to set your day up. That's what we're really here to do. That's that was the gist of some of the drama over the week when we were out. Guys writing me, telling me, you'll never be a legend like these guys and things like that. And I said, I've never wanted to be. All my job is to set our audience up on a daily basis to have a great day and inform them of things they may have missed, maybe give them some laughs on the way into work. Don't care about monikers and things like that. I'm here to serve the audience. I'm here to serve the community. However I can use this platform for good, that's what my job is. I don't care what you call me. I don't care what you name me. It's not for everyone.
It's for a lot of people, but it's not for everybody.
It's just not.
And I have always, for years now, have described our show same way as you just said it. We want to entertain people, whether you're at home, getting ready to work from home, whether you're in your car, driving to the office, or whatever. We just want to entertain. Maybe you're listening to this at 7 o'clock at night tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know. We just want to put a smile on your face. We're going to talk some sports. We're going to talk about our lives. I've always said we are a morning sports show.
Yes.
Not a sports show that happens to be in the morning.
In the morning. That's exactly right. A morning sports show.
Midday shows, whether it's Annie and Elston or any other sports midday show.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know. They're going to bring on a lot, the beat writers. They're going to bring on talk the X's and O's. It sounds a little bit different when you're in the office and listening rather than waking up, pouring your coffee, driving to work, sitting in traffic. It's just different. We would have a different show if we were in afternoons, if we were in middays.
Yeah, there's no question.
If we were in evenings.
There's no question, man. There's no question about it at all. Are you uncomfortable?
About what?
I don't know. That's a nice new sweatshirt you got.
It's not new. I've had this one for years.
I've never seen it.
It was too small for me for a while, and now it is not too small for me anymore. So thank you very much for noticing.
We're not matching today.
And that's true. We're not all wearing the same thing like we were yesterday, which was kind of embarrassing.
Or 2 days ago.
And 2 days ago as well. But, speaking of our midday show, Annie and Elston, just want to congratulate them yesterday on I think, very successful debut. First 4 hours on the air.
100%.
I caught, I think, parts of about 3 of the hours. Didn't listen to the whole show, but definitely caught quite a bit of it. And really enjoyed sitting down with those two and them kind of getting to know each other as they were kind of feeling it out. But I enjoyed the entire time.
It was very reminiscent of when we started. Ben and I didn't know each other at all. And they know each other, obviously. They knew each other a lot better than you and I did. That's for sure. We had
years and years and years.
We had never interacted.
You thought I was Carl DeMaio.
I did. Again, if you haven't heard that story, I was across the street doing fill-in work for like a year. And our mutual friend John said to me, hey, if you get a chance to see Ben Higgins over there, he's a really nice guy. And I said, I saw him. He walked past me in the hallway, and I said, hey, how you doing? And he looked at me and walked on by. I go, the guy's a PRIC, right? And I said, screw that guy. Well, turns out I was talking about Carl DeMaio, not Ben Higgins. Aren't you like 3 feet taller than he is? Yes. So I didn't know.
I really don't look anything like him, but
you guys.
I mean, you kind
have you seen the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito? You're that much taller than him, but you really. I thought there were some similarities there. I just got my names and I got my signals crossed, so I thought Ben was.
That's how
was
little though we knew each other when we first started doing the show.
That's exactly right. So I'll tell you this about those two. They sounded incredible. For a first show, Annie sounded totally at ease. Craig is Craig. He's going to give you tons of energy and passion and enthusiasm. I thought it was, frankly, amazing for a first show, for any show, for a 10th show, for a 100th show. It was a great, great show. They had great content. Super happy that they're part of the team here, and I expect and I know big things will come for them. And I saw so much support for them yesterday from our audience and now their audience. I loved it, man. Now, somebody did tweet Craig and say, hey, are you going to be doing Crossing Streams on Ben and Woods? And he goes, no, that's going to be on my show now. And I was like, you son of a bitch. Now we got to go back to the drawing board for another segment, So, but listen, it's his content. But I'm very, very happy for them. And not to be condescending, I'm very proud of them. It feels weird to say you're proud of somebody, but I felt a sense of pride for them yesterday because I thought they did a great job.
They did. I learned a few things as well, including that that Annie's nickname, her familial nickname, is Cher Bear.
Cher Bear. I heard
which
that as
I
well.
did not know that. Now, I did know, a lot of people did not, that Annie's true first name is Sharon Annette Heilbrunn. Annie is kind of her nickname that she's used on air in San Diego, but her actual name that her family calls her is Sharon. I did not know, though, that they all call her Cher Bear, which I loved. I absolutely loved that revelation.
And let me say this, too. I thought Braden did a really, really nice job on the air yesterday as well. And it was nice to kind of hear him come to the microphone a little bit. So I thought, all in all, man, really, really solid first show. It's one of those things where I listened and I know them. So I got, you get a little like anxious and nervous.
For them,
You're nervous for them. But I thought to myself, dude, this thing in 6 months is going to be smoking. I mean, it's going to be smoking. It was smoking out of the gate. I can't even remember. I told Ben, I don't remember the night before our first show. I don't remember it. I just have no recollection. I don't know what we talked about on day one, really. But I did tweet yesterday, starting a new show is perhaps the most terrifying thing I've ever been through in my life. I've done it a few times, new iterations of shows. It's like walking into a mall nude, and you're out of the parking lot and you walk in, you're like, how we doing? You know where Nordstrom is? And you're just nude. It's just the most terrifying thing. And I thought
You're saying you feel exposed.
100%, man.
Vulnerable.
And you're afraid of the silence because I was really afraid of the silence when we started because we didn't know each other at all. And I was afraid, and you were very afraid of the silence. So we would just be full-backing each other over and over.
I'm still afraid of the silence.
You still are a little bit. You still are, but
have to work on it sometimes to embrace the silence every once in a while.
I'm very, very happy for them.
The only thing I do remember from our first show, I'm almost positive it was our first show because Woods sent me this audio. It was very viral at the time, and you're like, we have to play this. You have to play this. And when we play it and we start laughing, just keep playing it. Just keep playing it. I was like, okay, like this is a little bit different. It was the Cash Me Outside girl.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I always do, and they never catch me. Ain't nobody gonna catch me.
Because you're too streetwise?
Yep. And all these hoes laughing like something funny.
She's talking about the audience that they're laughing at her.
Did you say the hoes are laughing?
Yeah.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yeah.
Yep.
Catch me outside. How about that?
What was that?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside? What does that mean?
What I just said.
I like when Dr. Phil says, so the audience are a bunch of hoes? That was viral at the time. And we did play.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yeah.
The audience, a bunch of hoes.
Yeah.
Our audience, you guys, also a bunch of hoes.
You just told me, Paulie, you can't hit those
You can't
drops
play them enough.
And I'm like,
all right, man.
this is totally different. Okay, I'll yes, sir.
I wish I could remember Ben's face and the squirming that most definitely went on when we were playing the audience or a bunch of hoes.
We mean that in the nicest way.
In the nicest
I promise
way.
you. It's very, very loving when we say that.
God, that's fantastic, man. You guys are a bunch of hoes, but we love you in spite of that. And because
So
of
the
that,
audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's my favorite, man. We haven't played it since that day either, which is fantastic. It's been 5 years.
You're like, just forever. This will be the stickiest drop on it. I'm like, what is a sticky drop?
What's a sticky
mean?
drop?
What are you even talking about?
This is going to go in our first tournament of drops. What is that? What is that?
And then a week later, you were doing Sister Jean
Oh, yeah?
interviews.
What are you talking about?
Ben, that was the most uncomfortable I've ever seen Ben Higgins. Ben, just roll with me. I'm going to be on the phone.
And I'm going to be playing an old lady.
So I'll be out of the studio. I'll be on the phone
sexy
as
old lady.
Sister Jean. And Ben's like,
Sister
why were they
Jean?
playing in the half-court press in the second half?
He's such a sweet angel. Sweet, sweet angel. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here, all of you hoes. And
So the audience are a bunch of hoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, we will. That's Foreplay. We will come back and
you'll set the menu.
I'm going to set the menu again for our show as we're coming up today. What we've got on tap should have a little bit of fun on a Friday as usual. We do have a guest. We'll let you know about that as well. Thank you for joining us. 97.3 The Fan. It's Ben and Woods. Friday is finally here. Short week, long week on San Diego's #1 sports station. Let's check with Kelly Danick, see how traffic looks today on 97.3 The Fan. Good question, Woods. Good question.
You turd. I said you were me.
Welcome back. It's Ben and Woods. We're just setting the menu here now. It's 6:22 in the morning on a Friday. And coming up on the program today, Padres did make a couple of moves yesterday. Saw a lot of people going, what are we doing here? What's going on? I think there is an explanation. We will get to that coming up. Padres still looking to fill at least 2 slots in their outfield, if not more. Who's still out there? We'll talk a little bit more about Cody Bellinger. We got to him yesterday. The possibility, like, could you even make a run at a top-flight free agent at this point? We're operating under I think the fairly confident knowledge that the Padres are under some budgetary constraints here. What exactly the final number is going to be, we don't know. But I think, can we all agree that we're not going to get surprised? And, actually the Padres payroll is going to be going up this year.
Yeah,
$270 million. It's not happening.
I did hold out hope a little bit because last year, maybe around this time, maybe sooner, Kevin Acee wrote a piece and said, look, from the knowledge that I've heard right now, we got $25 million to spend, this offseason, which was not what they spent at all. And they surprised all of us.
They spent that and more just on Xander Bogaerts.
That's exactly right. And I think because of that situation that happened last year, I went, well, listen, we really don't know. And there's always the possibility. I just have that gut feeling that we're not going to be. Now, could A.J. Preller pull off a trade for a superstar? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We've seen him do that many, many times. So I still think that we can be and will be surprised, but I don't know that it's going to be one of those top 10 free agents left in the marketplace, Ben. Our buddy down the hall, John Flint, came in this morning. He goes, is Snell going to the Yankees? And I said, that's the rumor right now. Scott Boras, again, the way he operates, he floats that out. Somebody floats that out, that the Yankees are interested and Blake is interested, and then maybe the market for Blake Snell picks up a little bit because he's probably the top remaining pitcher on the market that hasn't signed. So you float that out and let the offer start coming in. He goes, why can't we just pay him? I said, well, we could. If Blake came and said, I love San Diego, I want to stay, give me $5 million next season and the 4 seasons after that, and then pay me much later. If he pulled the Shohei, we cannot, as fans, expect the players, the free agents that have earned free agency, we cannot expect them to do that. It's
still very much the outlier, not the rule.
It's very much the outlier.
I could be completely wrong, but I feel like the Blake Snell to the Yankees nugget that was floating out there yesterday was very much a plant. I can't really see Blake Snell pitching for the Yankees. I can't.
Is it so?
Could I be surprised? Yes. Is it out of the realm of possibility? Of course not. There's only 30 teams. There's only certain teams that are even bidding on you. As a baseball player, he knows that. He's savvy enough to know I may not get to go exactly where I want to go. And the Yankees are never going to be the worst landing spot for anyone. Right. You're pitching in pinstripes in the Bronx on a team that's trying to win. So, yes, he could end up going to the Yankees in that sense. Do I see that as the fit that he was hoping for?
No.
Nor do I. No. I don't think there's any chance that, Blake Snell started the offseason going, hey, Scott, any way you can get me onto the Yankees, biggest deal possible, but let's go. Let's do the Bronx. Let's do New York. I don't see Blake as being that kind of guy, and I could be wrong. Blake has multitudes that I think none of us totally understand.
You're absolutely right. I mean, he is a pretty fierce competitor.
It's not because he's afraid of the Yankees.
I mean, he pitched in the East and pitched well in the East and won a Cy Young in the East. He knows what type of baseball that is out there. He knows exactly.
I
what
agree.
It's like.
We know that Blake.
He's a creature.
Yes.
He's a creature of comfort.
Comfort level to him is important. But it's important because it makes him successful, and he wants to be successful, and he's driven to be the best pitcher possible. And my guess is he'd look at New York and go, I could do that, but man, I'm going to have to step out of my comfort zone for a while before we get there again. I mean, if San Diego took him a good, I don't know, what would you say, year and a half, before
easily.
He felt comfortable. New York's got to feel like it's going to be at least that, if not longer.
Well, and not only that, man, but it's a bandbox. Do you want to go pitch in a bandbox? That's your numbers. But if you get that last bag, who cares? Like, not who cares, but like, I know he takes pride in what he does, but you got your final contract, man. Like, go out, do what you can do, and try to win a World Series. So I do think it was probably a leak. I do think it was probably floated out there. But I don't think the Padres. I don't think the Padres can afford a Blake Snell right now. I don't think they can afford a Cody Bellinger right now. And again, we cannot as fans, in my opinion at least, expect players to do things that Shohei and Yamamoto and those guys are doing. We just can't expect them to do it. Doesn't make them bad people. It does not make them a bad person to say, "Oh no, I want my $25 million a year and I want the normal, contract, whatever it is I earned." It doesn't make them bad people to do that. So, I'm going to do my very best. Now, my mind goes there and goes, man, that'd be if you could swing it, that'd be amazing. That way we could stock up and compete. But as it stands right now, I think we have to be honest with ourselves, Benny. Wild card is what we're shooting for. It is. The wild card is what you're shooting for right now. That's it. And if you know that going into the season without any grand aspirations of winning a division, we know it's baseball. Anything can happen. But go get into the dance and see what happens.
The wild card is what they're shooting for because they want to win the World Series. Correct. And that's a way you can win the World Series. But yeah, I mean, you're not trying to match the Dodgers piece for piece at this point. Like, we need to be better at them at every position.
No, you just can't do it.
It's not going to happen, at least going into the season. Coming up in our 7 o'clock hour, regular features, Take on Woods, Don't Do This. It says Ben's Weird Habits at 7:35. I'm just going to leave it at that for now.
Okay.
We'll explain later, but be ready for Ben's Weird Habits at 7:35. 8:35, Kyle Glaser from Baseball America will be back with us. Now, you'll remember we had Kyle on fairly recently to talk about what the Padres received in the Juan Soto trade. This time we really, now that it's looking more and more likely that the Padres are going to have to draw on their own minor league system, I think I specifically kind of want to know what at least their take at Baseball America is on who is possibly ready, who could be accelerated, what kind of contributions could the Padres get from guys like Jacob Marcy and Graham Pauley? Is it unfair to even ask anything of those guys in 2024? Or are they really more 2025 guys? We'll talk with Kyle Glaser coming up at 8:35. Reindl Report heading all the way to Annie and Elston at 10 o'clock this morning. Should be a good one. Let's take a break. We'll come back, and I do want to get into the Padres signings.
I mean, about as minor moves as you can make, but still important.
But not a reason to criticize. I saw people criticizing the Padres for some of these moves yesterday. Don't get the wrong idea of what A.J. Preller is up to out there. We will talk about that coming up next. It's Ben Woods on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So an interesting prediction for a free agent who is going to land with the Padres yesterday. We'll get to that coming up. It's Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Padres did make a few signings yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised, Woods, if we don't see a single one of them in the major leagues this year. Correct?
I think.
What's the list from yesterday?
Okay, so they added Oscar Mercado, outfielder, catcher Kevin Plawecki, who was here before, pitcher Daniel Camarena, and outfielder Bryce Johnson. Bryce Johnson, maybe the most interesting one because we're unfamiliar with him. Former Giant, minors deal, 28 years old. He can play center field. He's got blazing speed, and I mean blazing speed.
And like a 148 career
average.
He's
a switch hitter as well. That being said, yes, 148 average, batting in 61 at bats. He's basically AAA depth. But again, led the PCL with 30 stolen bags in 2021. Are those days gone of having, since the DH is here, Benny, is it you still need a fourth outfielder / pinch runner from time to time to go swipe you a bag? He's the one that's the most interesting to me because he can run, and he can run like the wind.
He'll get an opportunity, I would think, in spring, and if he shows he can hit even a little bit, he is such what the Padres need in terms of outfield and someone who can swing the bat from the left side of the plate even some of the time, that you could see him getting that chance.
I wish we would bring back our beloved Irishman, Brian O'Grady. That's what I wish we would do.
I would like that too.
With him about it. Yeah. I said, bro, you're mashing with drive line, got some pop. We need a left-handed bat. I would love it.
But I saw some Padres fans out there who were going, "Oh, is this the direction the organization is going now? That they're going on such the cheap that this is all that they can sign." Every team signs these players in the offseason to the minor leagues. You have minor league prospects who you're excited about, who are coming up through the system. But you also have, 15, 20 other roster spots at every level that you have to fill out. And not every single one of those guys is going to be an exciting prospect. At the very least, you're hoping serviceable player is going to, do their part in the minor leagues. And in an absolute emergency, if Luis Campusano went down again, and Kyle Higashioka went down, and Brett Sullivan went down. Brett Sullivan went down. Kevin Plawecki's been in the majors. You could call him up, hopefully for a short period of time. He could do a somewhat serviceable job if you absolutely, in emergency, needed to get him to come up there. That's what these signings are about. These are not about filling the needs of the 26-man roster at this moment. And you have to look at it as such. There are different kinds of signings in the offseason. Every team will have these. Padres will have them. They need to fill out their minor leagues as well as their major leagues right now.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it certainly doesn't blow your hair back. But again, there's some familiarity there with some of these guys. They know what they bring to the table. It's fine. I mean, there's nothing to get excited about, but it's certainly nothing to get upset about either. Does that make sense? Like this shouldn't blow anyone's hair back, but also it's nothing to be super upset about.
So
there's plenty of things to be upset about with this team. This isn't one of them.
So ESPN.com, ESPN Insider had their predictions of where some of the remaining top free agents will land.
I wonder how many of these have been accurate.
I don't know.
This season,
but I mean, Jeff Passan is involved.
Okay, good.
And, knows his stuff. Even if he admits, taking some guesses here, some educated guesses. Thought it was interesting. The only one that they had predicted going to the San Diego Padres. We'll get to that coming up after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, no sooner did we clear that crash northbound side of the 805 near Bonita, but now, right after that, on the East 54 connector ramp, there is a crash involving several vehicles. Looks like they may have to shut that ramp down to clear that. That's north 805 to the eastbound 54. And collision involving a couple cars westbound King Freeway just past Kelton. They're over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, I know not everybody out there pays for the ESPN Plus, but there is some good content, especially when Jeff Passan is behind the paywalls.
Well, let's be honest, you don't pay for it either.
I actually do pay for it.
Adam pays for it.
Well, Adam pays for his, but I actually have my own. Because I like to set...
Blown away.
I know you're surprised.
I'm blown No way.
But I like my own settings, so I have my own teams that I like. If I log into Adam's account,
it's
I have to follow the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Hawks,
the Thrashers. Are they still a team?
I don't think so. No,
okay.
They're gone. But
Georgia.
I like to follow just Padres, Aztecs. I get my local team, Lakers. I can put on there as well.
They're not local.
They're not, but Padres and Aztecs are.
Yeah.
And I like to follow what's going on with the Los Angeles Lakers from time to time.
Yeah, I know.
But you get the pass-in content, which ESPN strategically often puts behind their paywall. And the article yesterday was called Passan, where MLB free agency trades stand entering 2024, what Jeff Passan is hearing. And again, a lot of this is speculation about where top guys could land. He has Blake Snell still thinks going to the Giants, not the Yankees, despite the rumors yesterday. But
definitely.
The only name, and he went through teams with needs, wrote the Padres obviously need outfielders. A lot of teams need some hitting help. A lot of teams need pitching. But the one name that was attached to the San Diego Padres, Justin Turner.
You like Justin Turner.
I'm on record as saying it at some point.
On record as saying, I like Justin Turner.
I don't remember the context of that.
I mean, you love him.
You just like him.
You like him as a player and a person.
Because I don't like I've said before, I don't like the big smudge of pine tar.
The eye-washed pine tar? Yeah.
I don't like that, but I guess I said it at some point. Does that make any sense to you, Justin Turner?
I'll say I like Justin Turner.
Yeah.
Does that make some sense to you?
It does.
In the needs for the San Diego Padres.
Yep, it does. Unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say, it does. It makes sense. You'd obviously love left-handed power. You'd love it. He's not left-handed. Neither is J.D. Martinez, who is another guy that makes a lot of sense for the San Diego Padres right now. Those are guys that can hit. They are professional hitters. They are playoff and battle-tested, Ben, both of those cats. If you ended up with one or both of those guys, I'm not going to be super disappointed in it. I don't think they're going to be massively expensive. Again, would I love a lefty? Yeah, I'd love a lefty. I would kill to have a left-handed. If Justin Turner was left-handed, he would be perfect. So would J.D. Martinez. They're not. So you got to work within the constraints that you have. I like both of those guys as fits for our squad. So yeah, it does make sense to me.
How would that work? Would you picture maybe early in the season, if Manny is just DHing as he's recovering from his surgery, which may or may not be the case, but he plays third and then slides into a DH role, or you put him in the outfield?
I put Hassan Kim at third. I put Xander Bogaerts at short. I put Jake Cronenworth at second. I put Justin Turner at first. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would do. But and that's
which is okay. And then
when Manny comes back, Justin Turner's probably my DH. Probably my DH against lefties and righties. So I don't know what his splits are. I should go look, but that's what you have right now. And again, I don't know how much he's going to command on the open market. A little bit long in the tooth, but he's not as old as J.D. Martinez is. I don't think. And again, these guys have done it. They've done it at the highest level. They've done it on the biggest stages. You could use guys like that in your clubhouse as well. They're pros. I mean, both of those guys are pros.
Now, he did not connect the Padres with any of the available outfielders, which I was a little surprised.
That's a little odd.
Some of the guys that he went through were Teoscar Hernandez, who he says is the best bat in the non-Cody Bellinger division. He kind of separated the Boris guys, including Bellinger, into one category. Jorge Soler, who he hit over 30 bombs, 36 home runs, I think, last season, and opted out of a $13 million deal with the Marlins to hit free agency. He's still out there. You mentioned J.D. Martinez, more of a DH, as is Justin Turner. Jock Peterson is still out there as well. Harrison Bader just signed.
Whoa. I'm blown away. Turner is older than J.D. Martinez.
Is he?
By 3 years.
3 years.
Sean, thank you for that. I feel like an idiot. I had no idea.
How old is JD? So JD's like 34 and Justin
36.
Turner's 37?
Justin Turner's 39. That's 39. What Sean says. Is that right?
I was going to guess 37.
I can't even blame the cold meds right now. That's literally just what I thought.
We're getting into Nelson Cruz territory.
Bro.
At that age.
That is
not quite, but getting close.
Yeah, JD's 36.
And then kind of the best of the rest. Harrison Bader was on there, but he already signed. Michael A. Taylor, good defensive outfielder for sure. Tommy Pham, still a free agent, and you could always, entertain the idea of a reunion with Tommy Pham.
I'm all in.
Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario as well, and that's about the extent of the free agent outfield market that's remaining.
Yeah, the trade market could be our friend as well. I don't know what it would cost to get a Kepler, a Santander, guys like that. But again, those are the lefties that you're looking for. Bless you, Paulie. I hope I'm not getting you sick as well.
I hope so too.
Oh man, this is terrible. Yeah, I would look at a few of those guys, Ben. Tommy Pham, healthy, is a pretty nasty hitter, as we saw.
Yeah.
Would he come back here?
Yeah,
he loves Schilt, by the way. Him and Schilt are super tight.
Yeah.
Super tight.
He played well after he left San Diego.
Yeah,
and
they all
he played
do.
pretty well
They all
before
do.
he came to San Diego.
Yeah, they all do.
What happened? And
Well, he got
and
stabbed.
what-
That was part of it. He did
would
get
you
stabbed.
expect him to come back and just like maybe he just doesn't play well in San Diego? Or if they brought back Tommy Pham, would you expect him to continue playing like he did last year? And
I know he's healthy, which is a big part of it. And I know that he and Schilt get along really, really well.
Performed really well in the playoffs.
It's really good, man.
And, I mean, we don't know if the Padres are going to be there, but the goal, obviously, is
I'm
to
proud
get
of
there.
myself.
I'm proud of you,
And if you do get there, you want guys who have been there and have been tested and performed in the postseason, and Tommy Pham is one of them. It's not the worst or craziest call if the Padres are interested in a reunion with Tommy Pham. Does anyone here have any interest in Jock Peterson? Just defensively, he's just not good in the outfield. But beggars can't be choosers at this point. I mean,
isn't he like a 1 year, $20 million a year guy?
has been, yeah.
$20 million, man.
31-year-old, though. He's
young. What about all the Pusoy in the clubhouse?
do you really want to bring that to San Diego?
That's the only thing on his mind is Pusoy all the time. And that's the
Just
rumor
invades the clubhouse
out of San Francisco last year. Gabe Kapler said, Jock brought Pusoy into the clubhouse, which is a no-no. And all the guys, that's all they thought about was Pusoy for the entire season. And, they got off
the Pusoy on a pedestal.
Put the Pusoy on a pedestal in the clubhouse, and the next thing you know, Giants go into a tailspin. Is the rule for Jock Peterson, we'll sign you, but no Pusoy allowed?
There's some very confused people.
Can you
right
tell? Can you tell somebody they're not allowed to think about Pusoy when they should be focusing on baseball? It happens.
I mean, it's always on your mind.
Always on your mind.
You put up signs in the clubhouse.
No Pusoy allowed.
But I don't think it's too much to ask. Like, hey, man, we got a tight ball game here. You're in
like
the
a
box.
no
I need you
smoking
focused
sign,
on the next pitch.
like a red circle with the line through
Pusoy.
it and just Pusoy.
Yeah,
it's a card game, by the way, everybody.
it is.
What do you think we were talking about?
I'm just reporting what Gabe Kapler said was one of the main.
It's a big story. Look it up.
Was one of the main problems in the Giants clubhouse last year was all his guys were focused more on Pusoy than they were on baseball.
Why am I not more interested in Jorge Soler? 36 home runs last year.
Right-handed.
Is that why?
Probably.
I don't feel like that's at Petco Park. And he played in not a great hitter's park.
Yeah.
In Miami. I mean, you think, okay, if you can do it in Miami, you should be able to do it at Petco Park as well. If you told me he was going to hit 36 home runs again next year, even if he only hit 205, you would take that, though, right? I mean, in your lineup somewhere, 30-plus bombs. Yet I don't feel that excited about the idea of Jorge Soler in the Padres outfield.
At this point, I'll take anybody with a pulse. You know what I mean? You got to fill that. You got to fill that outfield out. And hopefully with better than replacement level players for not a lot of money. So you're really up against it, Ben. We all want a new car, right? But when you go in and you look at a new car and you look at the sticker price and then you go, oh, wow, that's actually quite shocking. It's not, I had this number in my mind and now you want this plus taxes, title, and license. It's significantly more than I wanted. To find massive production out of a value player, and really in our case, Ben, AJ is going to need to hit on a couple of value pitchers and a couple of value outfielders. What are the odds of that happening? They're slim. They're slim at best.
Unless he decides to go, let's put all the eggs in one basket and try to sign Cody Bellinger, who we talked about yesterday, ticks all the boxes.
He does.
Left-handed, great outfielder. You put him right in the middle of a lineup with Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and Fernando Tatis Jr., and then you take your chances everywhere else. Here's why. I mean, there's a number of reasons why I don't think the Padres can do that, and it's beyond financial at this point. I think the one thing the Padres cannot afford at this point is a massive mistake.
Correct.
And Cody Bellinger has more of a possibility of being a massive mistake than a lot of free agents who have been on the market. You can make a minor mistake by signing Jock Peterson for a year.
Yeah, a one-year deal.
And then it's done.
It doesn't kill you.
But if Cody Bellinger
turns into Eric Hosmer,
turns back into what Cody Bellinger was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and not last year's Cody Bellinger and not MVP Cody Bellinger from 4 or 5 years ago, and you've got him for 8, 10, 11 years at an enormous price tag,
you're toast.
That is something that you won't be able to dig out of for a decade.
The franchise.
I'm absolutely fine with some of these. What was that quote that came out a few weeks ago? Like, it's almost impossible to make a mistake on a one-year deal. It just is. It's almost
there's no bad
one-year deals. It's just if they suck, yeah, man. I mean, guys have down years, whatever. What can we squeeze out of a guy at $18 million? But the problem too is, what if you roll with this guy? What if he's a great fit? What if he's a natural fit here?
Well, what we've been dealing with. While they're not one-year deals per se,
they have opt-outs.
They are 4-year deals with an opt-out every freaking year.
Every year.
Meaning the first year that they have an above-average season, they're out. They're gone.
But
they're going to get the bag.
But not the guys who that A.J. Preller has really put his reputation on. Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts. And it's more than just about how talented are they going to be for how long. It's also, are these guys that you trust, want to be winners, that are going to be in your clubhouse, are going to be guys that you can see a winning team being built around. And whether you agree or not, A.J. Preller does. He sees in those three guys he trusts long-term that he wants to build a franchise around. And we'll see if he's right. I certainly haven't seen anything in any of those three guys that make me go, Fernando's had his off-the-field issues, but I believe in him going forward.
Yes.
I believe in Manny's heart and desire going forward, and I believe in Xander's ability as a baseball player and desire to win and be his best going forward.
Correct. I do too. I think that's. I don't even think that's disputable. Really, I really feel that way about all three of those guys. I think that's a good point that you make. You're saying the makeup of the player.
I'm not challenging Cody Bellinger's makeup, but his consistency, I don't know.
Sure.
I feel like those three guys the Padres have, like down seasons is what we just saw from Manny Machado. It's not that bad.
Still at 30 pops.
Even in a down season. And that's what you're going to get going forward for however many years. And there'll be a decline at some point for sure. But even down seasons from those three guys should be pretty darn good baseball seasons going forward.
Yeah, the mistake that you can't be saddled with for the next decade, you're absolutely right. You have to hit on whatever, which is why I think the stopgap route is probably the best route. Even if it's $18 million for somebody to go out there and play left field and hit left-handed, if it's Jock Peterson, whoever it may be, until some of the young guys are ready to come up and get ABs. And then you feel a little more comfortable letting him walk or re-signing him if he's a fantastic fit, So there's a lot
and then
still on the
you'll be
plate.
mad that you didn't do it before because now you're paying even more after a good season.
Of course.
You're right. I mean, I think you can't risk a huge mistake at this point going forward. All right, we will come back. We have Take on Woods ahead. Don't do this as well. I know it's a little early in the morning. There was some pretty good basketball last night as well.
Even I would agree, Ben.
Thank you. I would say that, and by the way, a couple of big-name teams in the West are in a lot of trouble at this point. We will get to all of that coming up next. Hour number 2 of Ben and Woods ahead on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Ben's Weird Habits coming up at 7:35.
This is going to be interesting.
Can't wait for this.
I think we're going to find out some of Woods' weird habits, Paul's weird habits, maybe even some tier 1 weird habits out there.
I don't know that anybody doesn't know my weird. I'm pretty open and honest.
That's
I'm
a good point.
An open book with all my
But
weird habits.
These are on
Quirks.
the weirder side. Not like disturbingly weird. I'm just saying, like ticks, quirks.
Yeah. Quirks. You're quirky.
We're all a little quirky, aren't we?
There's no question.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not the only one.
No, you're not.
And by the way, there's ones that aren't mine as well that we'll bring to the table.
Sure.
But
Yeah,
I do have some of these for
This
sure.
is a Ben piece, and I like it very much. I like when you come to the table with things like this.
I also like to come to the table with basketball. Maybe that's one of my weird quirks.
No.
Even though Woods doesn't generally talk a lot of basketball. Last night was a good one. There was just 2 NBA games. It was the TNT doubleheader, which I like. I like when they get to focus on just kind of you got Charles and the crew, and I turned them on the pregame show, and then it was the Bucks and the Spurs and the Nuggets and the Golden State Warriors, and there wasn't a ton else going on last night, so kind of had it on in the background at work, and both games were really entertaining. It was a great doubleheader. Now the Bucks are really, really good. 25-10. The Spurs are not. They're 5-29. Yet Victor Wembanyama and Giannis Antetokounmpo had a good back-and-forth battle. And people have said, I guess Wemby's kind of a disappointment when they look at the Spurs record. He's not. I mean, is he dominating the NBA so far? Of course not. He's a kid. He's a rookie kid. But if you compare his rookie numbers to guys like Giannis who have turned into stars, he compares quite well, actually, in his first season. What he's doing already is very impressive. Had 27 points, 9 rebounds last night on national television. Of course, Giannis had 44 and 14, and the Bucks were able to pull out that game, 125-121. Second game was even better. Denver was so good in the first half, and then Golden State just caught fire the way the Splash Bros still can do it from time to time, and just took a big lead in the fourth quarter. And then in the end, Denver rallied all the way back, and Jokic did the Jokic thing. I mean, the guy draped on him, no time left, 38 feet from the basket, and nothing but net to win it 130-127 in one of the better NBA games of the season last night.
Absurd.
34 points, 10 assists, 9 rebounds. He is clearly the best basketball player on the planet. I don't think there's really any debate right now. As good as guys like Giannis are, Jokic is just another notch above the best superstars in the game right now.
I saw the highlight, because that's usually the extent of my NBA watching, but I saw the highlight of Wemby going up against Giannis last night and rejecting him. Watching those two
battled against each other.
That's awesome, dude.
It was fun to watch.
I really like both of those guys. I really do. I think they're both. The league is it's in really good hands right now with some of the stars that they have.
Think about the 3 names we've just mentioned.
Yeah,
Giannis, Jokic, and Wemby.
Yeah.
All international players.
All international players. It's a lot. The baseball's kind of the same way right now, where the biggest guys getting some of the biggest money are all international players.
It's good for the game.
Very, very good for the game.
Such a global game. And having Dame on the Bucks is fun, too. Now, no offense, I feel bad for Portland. They deserve more. I like it. It's a good city. They have a really good fan base for that team, and they have really not had any luck with anything. But now that Dame is on a team that clearly is going to be a contender, going to make a deep playoff run, I would expect you're going to probably see a different level. That guy's always awesome and fun to watch as well. So it was an entertaining night. Now the Warriors are in trouble. They have really struggled this year. In fact, if the playoffs started today, they wouldn't even be in, and that's out of the 10. They wouldn't even be in the play-in tournament.
Right.
They're currently 11th in the Western Conference. And they are a game and a half, or like half a game behind the Lakers, who are 10th, and would just be sneaking in at this point. Lakers have lost 8 of 10. They now have a losing record, and that's despite winning every game in their NBA in-season tournament.
In-season.
They have really fallen apart ever since that, and I don't know if they have answers right now. You hear LeBron talking, you hear Darvin Ham talking, and they completely going like, yeah, teams go through this, but at some point, if the Lakers can't turn it around, they're going to have to make a change. I've already seen pieces about who could replace Darvin Ham as coach of the Lakers. You can't expect to sneak into the tournament, the play-in tournament for a second straight year and make it to the Western Conference Finals. It just is not feasible. And the other thing they're doing is they're really wrecking the reputation of the first in-season tournament. Because if your champion of your in-season tournament ends up not even making the playoffs at the end of the year, kind of diminishes what that means early in the season. Like it's a nothing. I mean, if the in-season tournament winner ends up going on and at least getting to the NBA Finals, or even if they don't win the whole thing, you're going, okay, that was pretty good sign of what was to come. If the Lakers just fall apart after winning that thing, you just go, I guess the in-season tournament doesn't tell us anything early in the year. Does it really mean anything at all? And they've been bad. Yeah. Bad lately.
No question. Sorry about it, man. Sorry about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to happen to everyone. And LeBron and AD haven't. That's the thing. You think, they're bad because LeBron and AD are falling apart. Not really.
It's a supporting cast.
They step it up every night. They're getting nothing. They can't make shots. Can't do anything.
Sorry.
Need a contestant for Take on Woods? 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Call us up right now. Chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas coming up. College basketball. Aztecs return to action tomorrow afternoon. 1 o'clock tip-off at Viejas Arena against UNLV, and the status of Reese Waters and Miles Bird, both in the air. Brian Dutcher says game time decision for both of those guys after Waters hurt his ankle and Bird dealing with the turf toe coming off the game against Fresno State.
Is that why there's no line on this game yet?
Ooh, is there no line?
I could not find a line anywhere
Interesting.
last night because I was curious. I mean,
possible.
UNLV is like pretty much the same type of team as Fresno State, I think, record-wise, certainly. I don't think UNLV's battle test. I don't think they had a tough non-conference schedule. I was just curious. San Diego State coming off a 15.5-point spread against Fresno State, which they dominated and completely crushed that spread. I was just curious, and I couldn't find anything. And I didn't know if that had to do with
game to
injuries.
handicap. I would think you could put a line on it. UNLV 7-5, and while they didn't do anything that notable, they beat 8th-ranked Creighton by 15 at home last month. Now, Creighton's turned out maybe not to be quite as good as people thought they would be, but still, that's an impressive win. But the rest of their 11 games have been all kind of ho-hum mediocre. The Aztecs, even if they don't have Reese Waters, he scored 0, by the way, in the game against Fresno State, and they won by 27 points. So they know you can win without them. I think that makes it hard. I mean, the Aztecs could not have Reese Waters, blow them out. They could have Reese Waters, and it could be a close game. You just don't really know what to expect from UNLV in this game as well. So,
It's conference game, so I mean, you want your best players out there, but you want them out there at as close to 100% as you can get them out there. Do you risk it against this opponent, Benny? Putting Reese Waters out there on half a leg?
I don't think you push him to play if you normally wouldn't clear him to play. You kind of say, we need whatever we can get from you. It's still a long season. You need him healthy at some point. I don't think you do anything that could extend the time that he's going to be hurt. Now, if he says, I can go, then it's a conference game. Give him a chance. Get him out there. So I do think it'll be a real game time decision for Brian Dutcher for that one tomorrow, which, again, is a nationally televised game on CBS. To the entire country is going to see the Aztecs. So hopefully they put on a decent performance and represent well in front of all the eyeballs.
What time's the game?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, okay.
Afternoon game tomorrow. All right, see a couple of people calling in. Let's get to it. It is time for Take on Woods. All right, we're going to go with John today, and I believe we're going to change out the prize next week, I'm told, but we still have the trip for two to Las Vegas to the Westgate, dinner at Edge Steakhouse, and the tickets to Barry Manilow up for grabs here. John, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning.
All right, Woods has left the studio, so you are in control right now of our 5-question musical trivia challenge, and we will give you the categories. Got the Grand Old Game. Those are 5 songs that include lyrics about baseball. We got Make the Call, 5 songs that are about phone calls. And our new category is What the Who, and those are all 2-second songs, and they all start with the word who. So of those 3, the Grand Old Game, Make the Call, or What the Who, what would you like to play, John?
Grand Old Game, please.
The Grand Old Game. All right, today's game, 5 songs that all include lyrics about baseball. Maybe not the whole song, but there are certainly baseball-themed lyrics in all 5 of these songs. You'll have 60 seconds. Answer as many as you can. Say pass. If you don't know one, we'll come back to it if there's any time left on the clock at the end. First question is the 2-second song. Paulie will play a clip. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. John, you know how to play. Are you ready to go?
Ready.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. The category is the grand old game. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, John. Let's take on Woods.
Center field, John Fogerty.
Correct. Which Simon and Garfunkel classic includes the line, "Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio"?
Pass.
Bruce Springsteen sings about a friend who could throw that speedball by you in which 1984 hit?
Glory Days.
Correct. Warren Zevon recorded an entire song about and named after which baseball pitcher nicknamed Spaceman?
Bill Lee.
Correct. Joe Walsh wrote the line, "Bases are loaded and Casey's at bat, playing it play-by-play," in which song recorded 25 years before Colorado had a Major League Baseball team?
Rocky Mountain High.
Oh, incorrect. Go back to which Simon and Garfunkel classic includes the line, "Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio"?
I'm saying the lines in my head. I don't got it.
Quickly.
Time's running out. If I said dee 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 dee, I bet you'd get it. It's Mrs. Robinson on that one. It's Rocky Mountain Way. Rocky Mountain High is John Denver.
Yeah.
This is Joe Walsh. Rocky Mountain Way. You did get 3 though. We'll see if that holds up against Woods. Bring him back in. He likes his baseball though, so we'll see how this works for you. Hang on the line there, John. All right, Woods comes back in. He'll get his headphones on. Woods doesn't get the category. See how long it takes him to figure it out. 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on John.
Center field, John Fogerty.
Correct. Which Simon and Garfunkel classic includes the line, "Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio"?
Mrs. Robinson.
Correct. Bruce Springsteen sings about a friend who could throw that speedball by you in which 1984 hit?
Glory Days.
Correct. Warren Zevon recorded an entire song about and named after which baseball pitcher nicknamed Spaceman?
Bill Lee.
Correct. Joe Walsh wrote the line, "Bases are loaded and Casey's at bat, playing it play-by-play."
Rocky Mountain Way.
5 for 5.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
baseball is a good category for Woods. Grand old game. 5-3. John, thank you for playing. Woods remains unbeaten here.
That was
in
me
2024.
at my weakest too. I'm dying right now. Oh, what a great category to get though. It's super duper.
That's
easy.
the thing. It's a fun category, but it would be a tough one to beat you.
Yeah, you could best you're going to do there is tie.
You got to get 5 for 5 and go for it. He was close. He said Rocky Mountain High instead of Way,
Rocky
which
Mountain
is just
Way.
I think that's just almost a slip of the tongue. And he said, like, had the whole lyrics of Mrs. Robinson going through his head and could not come up with the title. But otherwise, a well-played game.
Thank
both
you
sides
for playing. Yeah,
today.
appreciate it.
All right,
Good start to the year for
You
your
are
old pal Woods.
I mean, the dream of a perfect
Oh, my
2024 is still out there for
What are
Stephen
the odds
Woods.
of that?
Very low.
Very low.
Very low. Let's see. Don't Do This is coming up next.
Oh, my Lord. It's one of my biggest nightmares as a parent, and it actually came true.
And if you thought the Oakland A's couldn't get any pettier, I'm here to tell you that they can. That is coming up next on Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. We'll be back after a check of traffic here. I did it again, and I feel bad because our friends at Valvoline, who we love, wanted to sponsor Take on Woods every day, and I keep forgetting to mention it. So guess what? Not only did you just sponsor Take on Woods, you're also sponsoring Don't Do This today. It's a little 2-for-1 here, brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I think you're going to appreciate the first Don't Do This story because this was brilliantly played, I think, by the Oakland Bees. Remember we talked about the Oakland Bees a few weeks ago? It's a new minor league team that
semi-pro, right?
Semi-pro, kind of, not a like independent kind of ball.
Yeah, indie ball.
But started like by some real baseball people with the idea of giving the city of Oakland basically an alternative to the Oakland A's.
Sure.
Something that can be there after they're gone. It's not big league baseball, but it's something that hopefully you can feel good about going and watching a baseball game. Because honestly, if you're an A's fan, you can't really enjoy going to an A's game now, even though they're still going to be playing there. They've already announced their move to Vegas. You hate the owner. It's going to be torture going to games, not going to games, whatever. So what the Oakland Bees did is they went through all of the, I don't know, what do you call it? The paperwork, the preparation that they had to do to like rent the Coliseum for one of their games. They wanted to do a big special tribute to baseball in Oakland and the Coliseum and all the nostalgic good old days. And they were going to rent it from the the city authority or whatever, the Coliseum authority that does this. And they had all their I's dotted and T's crossed. They raised the funds to pay for it so they could do a game there during 2024. Except it came down to one last thing. The Oakland A's had to sign off on it because they have exclusive baseball rights in the Coliseum, and you can't play a baseball game there unless they say it's okay. Now, they were going to be on a road trip. They weren't using it.
Wow.
There was no reason why they couldn't say yes. But when it came down to it this week, the Oakland A's said, no, we're not giving you permission to do this game in the Oakland Coliseum, and they put the nix on it. But what I think you'd appreciate it is it was so well played because the Oakland Bees knew that no matter what they did, if they play the game, and this is why I'm sure the Oakland A's said no, they'll probably outdraw the A's.
100%.
It's gonna be a feel-good story, and it's going to be embarrassing for the A's when it happens. But then again, if the A's say no, you're going to make them look bad one more time here, which they absolutely have done. So they kind of put the Oakland A's in a nice no-win situation on this one, and you knew they'd do the wrong thing, and of course they did. They should have just let them play the game.
That's very well played by them, and it's very petty by the A's, but there's a lot of pettiness going around.
Very, very petty by the Oakland A's. But what else would you expect from John Fisher, their owner? Petty, doesn't care about his fan base, clearly.
Indeed. This is, I teased it going into the break, one of the nightmares for a parent is a fire in your home.
This is like the first don't do this you learn in your life. Like one of the very first don't do thises of your life.
Don't play with fire. Literally and,
it's
metaphorically.
Like, don't run with scissors.
Yep.
And don't play with fire.
Don't play with
matches. Don't play with lighters. Yeah.
So we told you about the fire at Tyreek Hill's $6.9 million home in Fort Lauderdale.
Must be an electrical fire because the smoke is getting thicker and thicker as the fire trucks stand here.
Yep, that's exactly right. So turns out the fire was started by one of his children playing with a cigarette lighter in a bedroom, one of the fire officials said on Thursday. It was an accidental fire, did not provide the age of the child or the amount of damage caused by the fire. The investigation is now closed.
First of all, that's amazing that firefighters, that always blows my mind how a house could burn like that, or a building.
Yes.
A restaurant, an office,
and
a home.
They can trace it.
They can figure out where it started,
how it started
after all that damage and the burns and everything. Like, that's crazy to me.
Arson investigators.
Yeah. It's
wild.
Very, very wild. They can dig and find.
They can tell. Like, was it accelerated by some lighter fluid or anything, or was it simply an accidental electrical fire? They can tell all these things.
So one of his kids started that fire. That's one of those stories that luckily, again, nobody was injured or hurt at all. They were able to contain it and put it out. hey, remember that time, like at his wedding or her wedding? Hey, remember that time you burned down our $6.9 million mansion? Ha, ha, ha. It's going to take some time to get to the point where you can laugh about it. But luckily, everybody's safe.
And hopefully never do it again.
Yeah, never do it again. You learned your lesson.
Learned.
I pray my kids don't want to play with fire. Pray for it. Good.
Finally, do this on a Friday.
DD mega doo-doo.
And you got to tip your hat. Good content is just good, clever content. And online content creator Jersey Jerry.
Jersey Jerry.
I had not heard of him before this, but so I guess he does this weekly challenge, different things that he's up to. And the latest challenge was, how long will it take on a golf simulator to get a hole-in-one on the par 3 7th hole at Pebble Beach?
Yep.
And he was just going to keep going until he got a hole-in-one, and they had it, they filmed it.
Live streamed it
the whole
time.
All the way through. And, it starts going by, a couple hours. People are into it. He's not obviously a great golfer, but he knows how to swing. He
swing's okay.
Gets it down there. All right. He's got some opportunities. Keeps going. Nothing. Hours go by. Hours and turn into
that could go on
day.
forever.
Yeah.
And turns into now a second day. At some point, they just convince him, like, he goes 90 minutes and he's not even close to the green because he's so exhausted. I mean, it's not easy to swing that many times.
No.
He's well over 2,000 swings at this point.
Also, by the way, you neglected to mention that every 30 minutes he doesn't get one, he spins the wheel of punishment.
See, now, I didn't see that part. You told me that.
Yes.
And I didn't know what the punishments were. Because in the
I
story
don't know
I
what
read,
they are, but
it didn't list any of the punishments that he had to take.
There were punishments involved.
But so he took a little break, they put down a air mattress right in front of the simulator so he could take a break. Gets back up. He's over 2,500 shots, 2,600 shots. Still hasn't happened. 26-26. Finally, swing number 2,627. I think like 36 hours after it started, this happened.
Tom Brady tweeted, "Hey, it's always darkest before the dawn." It was a picture of Tom sitting in the Super Bowl when they were getting their ass kicked with his head down between his legs. They obviously came back to win that game. I think he got it within the next 15, 20 minutes.
I saw PGA Tour, like Max Homa, who is playing in the Century right now. He's he was involved in tweeting about it.
Pebble Beach tweeted about it.
Yeah, afterwards they even sent him. So if you make a hole-in-one apparently at Pebble Beach to commemorate it, they will give you the flag from the hole, and they will have it signed and embroidered and given it to you. They took the actual flag from the 7th hole for Jersey Jerry, 2,657 shots on there, 37 hours it took to finally hit a hole-in-one. But he got one.
Sounds like it was a great idea in the content
conceptual phase.
In the content strategy meeting. I got an idea. We should do this. And then you actually get out there and you got to execute it.
And you're thinking, what if it takes like 8 or 9 hours for you to get there?
Right. Much less 36 or whatever it was.
Are you more likely to, if you had the means to do that, would you be more likely to get the hole-in-one on the simulator in your home or something, or out there on an actual par 3?
So we actually saw a guy when we were up at the Topgolf. They have a little course there, and this long drive champion guy was trying to make the fastest birdie in history.
Yeah.
So he was hitting like a really low line drive shot, and then this guy was trying to make the putt.
Tap it in.
Somebody was standing next to the flag, and he would just tap it as the ball was still rolling. As soon as it stopped,
he quickly is getting into the hole. And he was coming close to holes-in-one every time, but obviously he's a really good golfer.
Yeah.
I thought he almost made one when we walked up.
He missed it by
almost made
like
one.
A couple inches.
And he couldn't have been there for more than 5 or 6 minutes because the event had just started. So I guess I don't know what's more likely. I don't know how those simulators are programmed. My guess is whoever programs them has to make those hole-in-ones fairly rare.
I would imagine.
I mean, it's not just random chance. You have to hit the actual shot that would have ended up right where the hole is programmed to be, I guess.
Right. But it feels like it's totally different.
It does feel different, and it is different, but it's still pretty fun. It was a pretty fun thing that they did.
It was fun until, like you said, 12 hours have gone by.
Not
and
for
you're
him, but
exhausted.
for the content people, they were loving the interactions and
great bit.
You know what?
The clicks they were getting.
Speaking of, I was going to tell you guys during the break, but speaking of do this and golf, our buddy Adam Jones just texted me.
Yes.
Says, I effing did it, bro.
No, he didn't.
He did?
He broke 80?
He broke 80.
Ah!
79.
Congratulations. Ask him where, when, all that.
Yeah, he sent me a picture of a scorecard. I'll figure it out.
Country Club of Barcelona, baby.
Yeah, somewhere in Europe or something. Good
But
for
he's
him.
supposed to be back this summer, he said.
I think so.
Hopefully we'll get to reconnect with Adam and play some more golf with him. It's one
of the best feelings I've ever had in my life, and it's only happened once.
And now it's happened once for him. You're tied.
Damn it.
You better get back to it once.
All right, I will.
That's Don't and Do This for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Ben's weird habits. I'll just leave it at that, and we'll explain a little bit more when we come back on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I know everybody's excited, but it is Friday, which means tonight is the night for kickoff with Boomer and Valenti.
Oh, what time?
At 6 o'clock, right after
yes.
Gwen and Chris.
All right.
Are you ready for football? You have Boomer and Valenti giving their picks, breaking down all the Week 18 matchups. The final weekend of the regular season in the NFL. It is presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos brought to you by those who drink it and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement on the air, on the Odyssey app. It's all there. Now, I did not wake up this morning saying, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to share my weird habits with everybody in San Diego.
Sure.
But I clicked on this yesterday with other people sharing their kind of quirky, weird, like, things about them. Yeah. And I go, I do some of these too. And I wondered whether I was the only one or whether there were some others in this studio who might share some of my strange tics and quirks.
Lay them on me.
I'm going to, right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Accident has cleared on northbound 805 right at the 54 connector ramp, so you might see a little residual slowing there. Also, collision on eastbound 905 right before Caliente. It's in the center divide. And an accident in the North County, southbound 15, just before Deer Springs Road in the clearing stage. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Honestly, this actually made me feel kind of good to know that I'm not alone, and hopefully some other people out there will share. So even if it's not exactly what you do, that perhaps that you share some of these little tendencies, just your mind starts going places, and you can't necessarily always control what your mind thinks about. So yeah, I clicked on this and I go, wow, yeah, I do some of these things. All right, how about this one from Deshaun? I speed when I go over bridges just in case that MF want to collapse.
That I don't know that I do that, but that's not weird.
It's not weird in the slightest.
That's not like irrational or anything.
I do. I don't know that I like gun it, but when I'm on a bridge and I'm not worried, I know in my mind, all right, the big giant bridge over the 8 freeway, the 805, the big one that spans across Mission Valley. Been there for what, 50, 60 years. Been fine. There's no problem.
I just did the Coronado Bridge.
The engineers check it, whatever. It's good. But I do feel somewhat of a sense of relief, at least when I get to the other end.
I do too.
Okay, there was no earthquake. This would not be the good moment for the big one while I'm on top of this thing.
Coronado is the one that always, from the first time I ever drove across it when I came out here for a wedding in 2004, first time I'd ever been here, and was like, well, this is absolutely terrifying. I mean, this is...
It's both terrifying and stunningly gorgeous,
exhilarating
at the same time.
And beautiful. And I thought to myself, and every time I go over there, I always hope, please don't let there be any traffic on the bridge. I don't want to sit up here for a long time because I'm convinced I can feel it sway. I really am. I'm convinced that
you get a nice
sway.
view when you're up there.
You do.
Right? That's like a little bonus.
You do. There's no doubt. But I get really domed every time I do it. So I try to avoid it at all costs. But I do think I might put the pedal to the metal a little bit more.
Kira has her quirk. She says, I pay attention to numbers and patterns a lot. I do that. And accidentally memorize them. I'll be driving and read the license plate in front of me, and it will be stuck reciting in my head.
Oh, my God.
All day. I look at numbers and patterns a lot as well. My mind is kind of wired that way. I don't know that I'll, like a license plate in particular, I will memorize all day, but I'll see, like, some sort of pattern, and it just gets stuck in there for a while.
I do a weird quirk. I have a weird quirk that I get out of the car almost everywhere I go, and I pretend that I'm like a CIA agent, and I scan everything and everywhere around me.
Hold on. We're getting to that one.
Oh, are we? Is that in there, too?
Yeah, hang on.
Oh, my God.
On. That's coming up. This one from Truly Wild. I'm scared to use a flashlight at night because I feel like it's going to land on some weird monster humanoid creature thingy, and that's how I will die.
That's fair.
I'm not scared to use it, but I definitely don't want to like run across something with a flashlight that's unexpected.
It will scare the if you're scanning your yard and there's a possum even and it hits the possum, you will jump a foot in the air. I like that.
Diane says, if someone sneezes around me, I hold my breath for like 15 seconds till all of their germs disperse in the air away
as
from
well.
me. I have no idea if that even is like remotely effective.
Probably not, because you can go through your nose, into your eyes, everywhere.
But she does that.
Okay.
All right,
I like
here's
that.
yours. This is Vashon. Every time I get in my car, I make sure I check the back seat because I don't want to get choked out from behind.
Yeah. So I've done that one. But mine is more like, let's say I go to Vaughn's or Stater Brothers, and I pull in the parking lot. I get out. I look around for anything untoward. I look around for a guy reaching into the back of his pickup truck for a shotgun or something. I do that. I stop and I look around. I try to be extremely aware of the people around me. Now, these days, I always have my headphones in, but I'm rarely walking into the store looking at my phone because I want to look around and go, okay. And I do the thing where I'm like, here's the exits. I just plan it in my head. Not like I'm in a movie or anything, but it's just I try to be like, you ever see those movies where they have like the guy, I was in special ops for 50 years, and he just looks at a guy sideways and knows this is up, that's up. I can see the bulge in his jacket. I love those movies. So I'm always trying to look around at my surroundings and go, what could potentially go wrong here? Always. Like, even when I park here, I look around, scope the scene, walk in, I'm looking over my shoulder, I'm looking behind columns.
James Bond,
James
essentially.
Bond, yes, that's what I was
Bond.
looking for. I was trying to be.
This one's from Dolphin. I have literally zero things to hide on my phone, but when I'm showing someone something and they take it, I want to kill them.
That's absolutely true,
I don't want to kill them, but I feel very uncomfortable when anyone's holding my phone.
You feel nude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really, really do.
Like, what are they doing to it? Don't touch my phone.
Yeah, there's nothing in there to hide.
No, but just don't touch my phone. I'll show it to you.
It's very private. Yeah,
Keep
let me
your
show you
hands
this picture. Don't touch it.
off of my phone.
I'm with you.
Show something. Oh, check out this picture, and they grab
They
it. 'cause
grab
they
it.
want to like zoom or something. Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, if I showed you how much money I have in my wallet and you grab my wallet, you're going to have a problem.
This one from Vante. I can't go to sleep without flipping my pillow to the cold side first.
Yeah.
I love a good cold side of the pillow, but if you're just sitting down, they're both cold. There's only a hot side of the pillow after you've been laying on it for a while, correct?
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying. So he'll lay down and
then
watch bed,
in the second,
and watch TV.
and it's time to fall asleep, flip it.
to
That's
the
just
cold
smart.
side.
That's
Gets
just
into
smart
bed
sleeping.
at 9 o'clock, watches some TV, he's on his phone, whatever, and then 45 minutes,
Right
an
before
hour
bed.
goes by. Then, you got to flip that pillow.
All right, here's two more that are we'll just go through them both because they're just like the one that you were talking about. ASH says, if I'm home alone and I vacuum or play loud music, I pause it very frequently to make sure I don't hear anyone breaking in. And then this one is, I think of emergency escape plans for every room building I walk into for a variety of situations, terrorist attack, natural disaster, etc. So a lot of people are like you, like always looking for the danger out there.
Jeff in the chat said Woodsy secretly wants to be Jason Bourne. Yeah, who doesn't?
Yeah,
I mean, if I could have those skills, I would do almost anything to get them.
All right, this one from B-Doll is totally me. And I think this one is, I've never heard anyone else who had this one. I hate complete silence. It's too loud. Only a few will understand, but the quieter it is, the louder it seems. It's an ugly noise when it's dead silent.
That's my wife to a T.
If I was ever like in one of those like sensory deprivation tanks, I feel like the noise of the silence would be overwhelming. I just hear it in my ears like building. There's no sound at all, but it sounds loud to me.
That's why we've started sleeping with the white noise on, and I can't sleep without it now. When we go to hotels, we have to bring an iPad to put white noise on, or nobody sleeps. I have to have it now. I can't imagine. Even like when I nap, I throw it on because I just can't sleep without it. I'm with you. The sound of silence is deafening. I mean, it's
not that weird.
It's deafening.
It's not that weird.
And it gets in your head. And
what
you're
would have been like if you lived in 1,000 years ago and they didn't have electric street lights? Everything makes a little bit of noise nowadays.
Yeah,
right.
There's almost no silent areas anywhere.
I think part of it for me was I had a TV in my bedroom for most of my childhood. 10 years old and on. and I would always fall asleep with the TV on.
I did too.
That just kind of made it natural to have some sort
noise.
of sound.
Yep.
But you live
music,
in a
television,
city. I mean,
whatever.
you hear things outside. There's planes, there's cars. There's always some noise.
That being
everywhere.
said, though, if I'm laying down for a nap and the leaf blower's going, I lose my mind. I go absolutely bananas and crazy when that happens.
I got a few more here. This one's me, too. I like to work alone. This is Cole. I like to work alone so much that I will deny any kind of help, even if it means getting S done faster. Because when I work alone, I am in complete control of how things are going, pace, steps, order, everything. It's just satisfying to know that it is all being taken care of.
I like to work as a team.
You're a team person.
I'm a big-time team person. Do not really like to work alone unless it's like a certain project that I'm doing. I like the help. I like the comparing notes and the camaraderie of being on a team. Never want to be a solo act, ever.
You like being able to do your own thing, but also having the option of like some collaboration.
Absolutely, 100%.
I don't know if anyone has this one. Jackson says, my car radio volume has to be at an even number or a multiple of 5.
Nope.
I don't even have that one.
I'm a little that way.
A little bit? Okay, Paul's got
mostly
that one.
multiples of 5 rather than just odd or even numbers.
Really?
Yeah.
Kind of like 20, 25,
Like
30.
if it's, I'll go up to 30. I won't go to 32. I'd go up to 35.
I can't find one that's loud enough for me. I've never been able to find one that's loud enough.
Even 11?
I never have put like the aftermarket, Blaupunkt in there or anything. I've never done that, and I've never found a factory one that's loud enough for me.
For some reason, this one, I'm even worse on this one. This is Tommy. Says, sometimes I try to see if I can complete multiple tasks before the microwave is done.
100%. I love that bit.
So I'm the opposite. I will, when I put something in the microwave, I will stare at the microwave.
Like a serial killer.
Even if it's like 2 minutes, I will watch every single second tick down until that microwave burrito is done. 154, 153, 152. And I will just stare at the thing the entire time.
I run to go.
That might be the creepiest thing I've ever heard.
That's pretty weird. I
Should
know.
we tell the microwave story that we heard at the Christmas and holiday extravaganza? Is that legal, allowed to do? We have a tier 1.
I mean, don't say who it is.
I'm not going to say
if
who
they
it is.
want to out themselves in the chat, they can, because I know they're in here.
I'm not going to say who it is. Can I tell it? Is he or she in the chat?
Let's see if they respond, and maybe that's an 8 o'clock story.
It's maybe the greatest story that I've ever heard.
I got 3 or 4 more here.
I thought of one based on the checking your surroundings and being afraid of what could be around you. From the ages of about 8 to 14, we lived in a 2-story house. The downstairs was kind of a game room, TV, video games, and all that. But all the bedrooms, the kitchen were upstairs. When I was the last person downstairs watching TV or something at night, and it's dark, and you have to turn off the final light and then go up the stairs, you have never seen anybody sprint up the stairs faster than a 10-year-old Paul.
3 at a time.
Just hauling ass up the stairs, because I'm like, as the light switch was at the bottom of the stairs, and I go, as soon as this light turns off, somebody's going to grab my ankle.
I've gotten approval.
You do?
I've
okay.
got approval.
Let me finish these, and maybe we'll tease it for the next
No.
You
We got to get this in. We got to get it.
This is the most important story we maybe have ever told.
Well, you were talking about putting things in the microwave, and then going to complete tasks.
Either completing tasks or the opposite of me, who just stares at the microwave the entire time.
So one of our beloved tier 1s, her son put some Totino's pizza rolls.
Do we know what time of the day this was? Or the night?
I don't know the time. But put some pizza rolls in the microwave. What if you're heating up, let's say, a dozen pizza rolls, what are we looking at? 2.5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I won't move. I won't budge. I'll be there the entire 2.5.
You'll be staring at it. So
2:27.
he decided, well, in the meantime, while they cook, and then, you do need to let them cool because they will explode.
Let's call it 5 minutes, start to finish.
You got about a 5-minute window. He decided he's like a 16-year-old boy, decided to go upstairs and handle business. You know what I mean? While he was waiting for his snack to cook.
Stroganoff.
Yep. And he walked up into his room, and it was in the process and fell asleep in the middle. And our beloved Tier 1 said, the quote was, "I don't knock because this is my house," and walked in. And was like, tell him,
your pizza rolls
are ready, bud. and he was there, asleep, in hand.
She's telling it. It's TJ, and she said it was in the middle of the GD day.
Middle of the day, right in the middle of the day. He wanted a snack and catch one on the house, and he passed out. So I don't even know if he knows. Mom walked in, and then she said she sat down in the hallway and wept. I look forward to those days as a father of 2 boys.
Does he know that she knows?
I don't know. I don't think so.
All right, that's never happened in my house. Fortunately,
this guy had
no
2.5 minutes
yeah,
of the microwave and
lucky.
goes, "Yeah, this is a good time to go do that."
Yeah, let me throw this in there, and you know what? I've got 3 minutes. All right, I'll be back. You're so uncomfortable. Yes. Don't be uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable, with this conversation. 2 more. Speed Force 5 says, all doors and closets in the room got to be completely shut when I'm sleeping.
I do that.
They don't have to be shut. I can't have a mirror. I hate having a mirror looking at me when I'm sleeping.
You have a mirror above your bed.
I would hate that.
It would be terrible.
I don't want to wake up and all of a sudden I see movement like, oh no, it's just me
it's
again.
You.
It's just me again.
We have to, my kids too, we have to shut all the drawers.
Oh my goodness.
That's me. We have to shut all the drawers. All of the closets have to be completely flush in our house and in our bedroom.
And then finally, and this is totally me from Malaysia, when I eat food, I eat them in order of least liked to most liked. So the last thing I eat can taste the best. LOL.
That's pretty common.
Dinner last night.
I do that a little bit, yeah.
I brought my
you
dinner.
guys 7 years old?
I
That's
brought
what
my dinner
Bo
last
does.
night, and I had steamed broccoli.
Okay.
And a little white rice and some Korean barbecue beef.
Okay, so let me guess the order. You had the broccoli
I
first.
ate the broccoli all first.
Then you ate all the rice.
Then I ate the rice.
And then you ate.
And then I ate the beef.
I mix them all together. I get a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
So I will maybe treat myself with one little piece of beef during the broccoli as kind of like an incentive to keep going with the broccoli, and then go to the rice and have one more piece of beef. But I want to have at least 5 or 6 bites of beef at the end to finish it off. So I'm ending with the good stuff. I don't want to end with 3 pieces of broccoli as the last 3 things I'm eating on my plate.
Throughout the meal, I'll kind of rotate between let's call it chicken, rice, and veggies. But when it gets to the end and I've just got more veggies and 2 bites of chicken left, I'm saving those 2 bites of chicken for the very end.
Yeah, you guys and my almost 6-year-old do the exact same thing.
Bo knows.
Thank you for letting us tell that story.
Weird habits.
It's one of the best stories I've ever heard.
It's so good, man. It's so good. I'm dreading it so much. Knock.
gonna
I think the
happen.
moral of the story is just knock. Knock until you get the okay.
All right, we'll reset things. Hour number 3, Ben and Woods next on The Fan.
We are halfway home on a Friday, January 5th, 2024. I'm surprisingly more comfortable saying 2024. It took me a long time to say 2023. I couldn't get 2022 out of my head. But 2024 has just come naturally to me. I don't know why that is.
That's because you're an even guy.
Maybe I am.
And maybe I'm an odd guy.
Maybe you're an odd guy. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's our executive producer. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, is here as well. Good morning to both of you. This is my Michael Jordan flu game right now. You need to carry me out of here later. I'm struggling.
Well, then I'm expecting one of your best performances ever.
All right, yeah, okay, yeah, because he did have a really nice game. Okay, yeah.
No one carried him in that game.
Correct.
He carried the entire game himself.
No, I mean, you need to carry me out of here.
At the end, sure.
End, yes.
While the show is on, I will just sit back and enjoy the greatness that you will elevate yourself to as you fight through whatever
it's the normal
cough and crud that you're trying to clear out of your system.
I tested for COVID. I do not have COVID. It's just I have two kids in school and preschool, and it just I've been pretty good about it. It got Hannah first. I thought I was immune, and I'm not. So that's how I'm feeling right now. And Jordan did have a monster game that night, didn't he? And it turns out it was not the flu. It was food poisoning. I can't decide what would be worse to play through.
Bad pizza rolls.
It was, bad pizza rolls. What would be worse to
food poisoning?
You think?
I think so.
Because it could be.
Well, food poisoning feels as bad as the flu.
It really does.
And all we're really talking about, what does it feel like? And food poisoning is just as bad, but it has more of an urgency sometimes even than the flu.
You need to be near
a
toilet.
Yeah. Because you'd have the stress of going,
what
if can't make it? I mean, you're on a basketball court. It's not like the restroom is right there. You've got to go.
You're jumping.
You got to run down
jostled.
a long hallway in an arena somewhere before you can even
clench.
Find one. It's a bad spot to be, let's say, when nature calls.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why, you hear the story of NFL football players. Absolutely disgusting. There's nowhere to go on the field, and there's no time to go during the game. So some of them have admitted many times that they just go. Like, just in
Number
their pants.
2.
Yeah.
Just go, man. Just go.
That's one of the reasons why I never wanted to be an NFL player.
That's one of the reasons. You totally could have been.
Of course.
But the proximity to the bathroom was really holding you back.
The proximity to the guys who didn't care if they made it to the bathroom or not is actually more of my issue.
You could have gone pro, but you didn't want to because guys may poop themselves next to you.
Yeah, I didn't like
That's
that.
a
I don't even
possibility
like going into
here.
our bathroom here. I
know.
went and used the bathroom. Someone was in there. I hate that. I wish there were private bathrooms just for me, actually.
Just for you. Yeah, everybody needs their own bathroom. Well, happy Friday to everybody out there. We will power through these last couple hours. Got Kyle Glaser coming up at 8:35. Interested, as you mentioned, Ben, to talk to Kyle about who potentially could make a splash this year. Kyle's been doing really, really great work.
Well, Baseball America has been very high on the Padres minor league system. But is it a system that's ready to produce major league talent right now? Or is it a system that is once again ripe to perhaps trade away some of those guys to acquire major league talent?
It's the age-old question if you're a Padres fan right now. We had a great tweet the other day from a guy that said we cannot continue to do this. We cannot continue to unload talent. I will say, though, who stings? Jack Sawinski is a guy that had a really good start with the Pittsburgh Pirates last year, and you went, oh, man, it would have been nice to have him in the outfield playing for the Pods. There's been a couple, and I'm not talking Trey Turner days, guys. I'm talking recent memory here. The Lucchese's, the Lauers. Lauer unlocked something for a minute there in Milwaukee and was throwing well. Munoz, obviously, in Seattle. Quantrill. He was DFA'd this year, though. So it's one of those deals where you're like, you've tempted fate quite a bit by trading a lot of these guys away.
The biggest, most recent one would be the Nationals trade for Juan Soto.
Sure.
Gore, Abrams,
Wood, those guys.
Gore. I still do that trade.
Yeah, I still do it too, but I do think Gore's going to be really good, and I do think Abrams is going to be above replacement level, and I think James Wood has the potential to be even better than both of them.
I do think that because the Padres struggled last year and in 2021 as well, that there's been this backlash against trading the prospects. Like, hey,
correct,
you've got to be more patient with your prospects. AJ, you've been too reckless in getting rid of some of this top talent. Let's not forget, though, there's also been periods of Padres history, including early AJ years, where they did bring up some of those guys that weren't that impressive. Nick Margavicius, and, we talked ourselves into some prospects that weren't really anything at all. And this is why I want to talk with Kyle Glaser a little bit. Are we deluding ourselves on guys like Robbie Snelling and Jairo Iriarte? Are they really going to be, major league pitchers, if not aces, guys who are, 2s, 3s in the rotation coming up? Or are we just hoping again? And is there anything more than you can do when it comes to prospects and really just hope? You got an idea, like, I think this guy might be good, but is it really just hope at this point?
Yeah, it's a good point, man. It's a really, really good point. So that option is on the table. That option is on the table. I know that there are several teams in dire need of a shortstop, Ben, and if Jackson Merrill projects to be, what the Padres think he could be, he may be on the block. I don't think anybody's really immune to being moved from this team right now. As much as it would, pain me to see that, depending on the return and how much it could help next season and a couple of years, hopefully, of control beyond, sure, I'm looking at all possibilities.
And the real answer here, I think, is that there has got to be some sort of middle ground. Because, fortunately, AJ's done a good enough job, at least on paper, of building up a system that is now consistently ranked by just about everybody in the top 10, if not the top 5
top
now.
7, yeah.
In the minor leagues, where you can trade a couple of guys without emptying the tank completely and still have some guys that you're very excited about that are going to come up and help you. But at some point, you're probably going to have to, I think, even this offseason, I would not be surprised if one or two of the prospects weren't dealt for something, especially outfield. There is not a ton. We went through some of the names earlier. Couple of guys that were interesting, but they're going to be really expensive. You're trying not to spend that much money. There could be cheaper options, even rental options for 2 years that you could get for a good prospect. And I feel like you're going to have to do that at some point in the next month and a half.
Well, there's another name off the board this morning. Bit of a surprise. Michael Brantley, Ben, is going to retire instead of signing with a professional baseball organization. Just came in 3 minutes ago from MLB Trade Rumors. Michael Brantley to retire. Really,
he's 38. What is he? Yeah,
really professional, good left-handed hitter. So he said, it's time for me to be home 24/7, watch my kids grow up, and not miss important milestones. Yeah, good for him.
Maybe
man.
Bad for the Padres, but good for him.
There's another lefty off the board, but not to another team, to his home team.
Was I hoping that the Padres were going to sign Michael Brantley? I can't say that I was.
No, but I wouldn't have been disappointed if they did.
But I can tell you now that it just squeezes the market on outfielders little bit more, because even if the Padres didn't sign him, someone probably was going to, and that was going to take that team probably out of the running for someone else. So, every outfielder that's no longer available, especially one that didn't go to any of the teams, squeezes that market a little bit tighter. And I don't know there really hasn't been a ton of trades. Had the Chris Sale trade. But blockbusters.
Soto.
I mean, Padres and the Soto trade. But what else has gone down? I feel like AJ's got a trade in him at some point here before the season starts. I'd be surprised if there wasn't, honestly.
The average salaries now for players that are just guys, even. Like, I don't think, based on the reported budget, what did we think when you traded Soto and that freed up, 30, 35 million?
Yep.
Somewhere in that range. How much have they spent of that?
Not much.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that. Like, they haven't spent much, so they got, call it $20 million to spend. That's like 1.5 guys.
Yeah, I mean, remember.
And they have 9 roster spots or whatever that they need.
I think Ha-Seong Kim, not an outfielder, but a great example. When the Padres signed him, 4 years, what was it, 28?
28.
Yep. Yeah, $7 million a year. I'll say it now. That looked like an overpay.
It did.
That looked like what? My goodness, what are we just throwing around money here on guys that that we have no idea if they're going to be any good. My goodness, what a bargain that contract
100%.
has turned out to be.
Fast forward 4 years later, if Hassan Kim
bargain.
was coming over to America today to play, he'd be getting 4 years, $60 million.
And not just because Hassan Kim has been really good, especially the last season and a half, but because of where the market has gone.
Yep.
That contract now looks ridiculously good. Now, there are other guys, not Hassan Kim, other guys around baseball who signed contracts 3 years ago, like
how about your
5-year
platinum
deals.
gold glove winner in right field?
Those contracts are much more reasonable now than they looked when they were signed a few years ago. That's what the trade market, I think, you might be looking for if you're A.J. Preller. Now, conversely, other clubs are going to want to hold on to those guys. If you've got a guy who all of a sudden is playing at what looks like a really affordable level, you trade him away. Now what do we get? We got to spend a bunch of money to sign someone else, to take their place, who's probably not as good. So it's going to be hard to pry those kind of players away from their teams right now.
Well,
very valuable.
And you're talking about A.J. Preller having a trade in him. You need capital to make trades. And, unfortunately, that's a guy that you don't know that you'll be able to have the funds to re-sign in the offseason. I would love if he finished his career here, obviously. But somebody's going to want him. And somebody, let's be honest, will overpay for a shortstop like Hassan Kim. I mean, he's a natural fit. He plays hard every single day, can play multiple positions in the infield, and can hit, and is now hitting with a little bit more power as well. So, I mean, it sucks. I hate it.
It's such a dilemma because he is so valuable for all those reasons we indicated. The price tag, the position he plays.
Positions.
And the fact that the Padres are actually covered at most of the positions that he plays as well, that they could afford to lose Ha-Seong Kim. They're a better team, obviously, with Ha-Seong Kim and the energy that he brings. I love him. I don't think there's a fan out there who doesn't want to see Ha-Seong Kim on the team. But if you're simply looking at the cold reality of what valuable commodity you have, probably a guy who is going to get more than you should get for that guy because teams are so desperate for a shortstop, versatile infielder at a price tag that they can afford for this next season. Ha-Seong Kim is your most valuable chip right now. Valuable for so many reasons. And I don't want to let him go. Don't want to let him go.
I don't either.
Just be so sad to see him go.
Be awful.
But, the logical part of my brain.
With everything else that's gone on,
100%,
if you threw that in there.
You throw a fan favorite, the fan favorite.
Is that a reason not to make a smart move?
No. It's almost like it's already bad. I mean, it's already bad. Like, so you could.
If that was the only bad thing.
If that was the only bad thing that happened, you'd be like,
still
man,
be
that
bad.
sucks.
Okay, I don't think the Padres should trade Ha-Seong Kim just to get, two really hot prospects who aren't going to help them. They need to address other needs. If they were going to trade Ha-Seong Kim, I'd want an outfielder who is going to be
playing
affordable and playing and contributing this year.
Or a starting pitcher.
That's simply balancing your team a little bit better than what your current roster construction is. And, by the way, one of those hot prospects as well, because Ha-Seong Kim is that valuable. That's the kind of trade I would at least consider right now. I'm not just selling Ha-Seong Kim high to sell him because I can
can't
get prospects for him and I'm not going to be able to sign him. I'd rather keep him this season. But if you can address one of your glaring needs in the outfield with a really solid ball player and also maybe pick up like a top pitching prospect along with it, all for a 1 year of Ha-Seong Kim because a team is so desperate for an affordable, versatile shortstop, you have to consider that. You do. You have to consider.
There's too many teams in desperation mode right now, for shortstops and middle infielders. There's just too many teams. And again, as much as I freaking would hate it, it would really, really suck.
It's awful, but you kind of need to at least look into taking advantage of those teams that are desperate if you're A.J. Preller.
Now, Michael says you're not going to get that for 1 year of Kim. He is a rental.
Then don't trade him. But, you look at the market, and I think you might get it for 1 year of him because it's so rare out there right now. Rare things are valuable.
Oh, yeah.
Like diamonds and gold and shortstops who make $7 million, who put up 5 WAR seasons, even for 1 year. That's a rare thing in baseball right now. And rare equals valuable.
Yep, I agree. I would be really surprised if you didn't get somebody that could help you immediately for a guy like Ha-Seong Kim. It's a need for a need type of situation. So somebody has a surplus of something that you need, and let's make the swap. I would hate it. My kids would hate it. They love him.
Major League Baseball wouldn't love it with the Korea series coming up, but the Padres do have another Korean player that they could showcase for those 2 games against the Dodgers now after the signing of Go. So, I don't know. We'll see. If you want to chime in, you can get us on X at Ben and Woods. You can call us 833-288-0973. Kyle Glaser, Baseball America. More on this conversation at the bottom of the hour as well. Don't go away. Be right back after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. I was just floored during that break. I was scrolling through my timeline, and I happened to see a picture of Jerry Coleman. And I thought to myself, well, why am I looking at a picture of Jerry? And
Beloved Jerry Coleman.
I looked at the date, and I could not believe it. Today is January 5th, 2024. Today, it was 10 years ago today that we lost Jerry Coleman. Gerald Francis Coleman, war hero, Yankee star, and legendary Padres broadcaster, manager for a year as well.
I love that.
One of my favorite people ever.
I love that they pulled him down to manage the team. I just love it.
Can you imagine the consternation if there was like sports radio
back then,
the way it is today,
What
or
year
Skipper the Padres for one season?
No, it's a segment on they do a quick segment on it on the local news. They write an article about it in the paper, and it's done. But now we would do a 4-hour show. They hired Don Orsillo to manage the Padres.
I mean,
we would do a 4-hour
and obviously
show.
Jerry had
Of
credentials.
course. Yeah, it was,
but at the same time, he had been in the broadcast booth for a while.
Correct.
Hadn't been coaching or anything.
correct.
And,
The fungos were a little rusty, like
Mark Grant played the
Mark
game.
Grant played the
just
game.
like Mark Grant.
We would lose our minds. We would lose our minds. Now,
He's out there showing the outfield or the first base umpire. Hey, did you see this video on YouTube?
yeah, exactly. Now, if it was Tony Gwynn Jr., you'd say, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Not too far removed from the game. I like this idea, right? But, yeah, that is one of my favorite stories about the Colonel, Ben.
That was one of the most, at least professionally, remarkable days of my life. January 5th, 2014. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio, because that also happened to be a wild card weekend.
Crank up the fire, Paulie.
And the San Diego Chargers were playing their first-round playoff game at the Cincinnati Bengals, Paul Brown Stadium. I was there to cover it. It was very cold. Not snowing yet, but it was definitely like 20s, 30s, really chilly. And got to watch that game in the press box. But while that game was going on, I kept running to the back of the press box because the San Diego State basketball team under Steve Fisher was playing a road game at Kansas, the Jayhawks. And this was, this was before obviously the Final Four run and everything this last year. But the Aztecs were playing great. They were looking to pull the upset. The Chargers were ahead, and it all came together. And the Aztecs won their game. Chargers won their game. And to me, as a San Diego sports fan, this is like the pinnacle. This has got to be one of the greatest days in San Diego sports history. And I am getting our live shots ready from Cincinnati, getting ready to go on the air. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call, and I forget who it was, and they said Jerry Coleman just passed away. And I had just seen him like not that long ago, and I broke down in tears. I was in the highest of the highs, and just from in that moment on, just the lowest of the lows. Just loved Jerry Coleman so much, and I can't even remember exactly what had happened, but he had been in perfect health at the end of the last season. Like, you'd think Jerry was going to go on for years and years. So it came as a real shock to me when I had heard that he had passed away. And I just remember the roller coaster of that day. And, you're already out of town and totally different situation. It was just very emotional. And it was just, maybe one of the most notable days in San Diego sports history, January 5th, 2014. And that was 10 years ago today.
Crazy, man. Crazy. This show, me, Paulie, we weren't even a gleam in your eye at that time,
No.
were we?
Yeah, you had just been in town for what?
4 years?
Yeah,
I
for
got
a little
here in 10.
while.
Yeah. No, I remember it well. One of my good buddies I played baseball with gave me
10 years ago. I was 5 months away from even getting my first internship in radio.
Yeah. My buddy gave me a signed picture of the Colonel, and I still have it in my house. And, it was I remember that day very, very well. There have been some big days since I moved to town, Benny, with Junior and Tony and the Colonel and all that, and now Peter Seidler. It's been a rough go. It's been a rough go.
I've said it before. It was 2003 spring training. So, Jerry and Uncle Teddy called the games back then, but Uncle Teddy had weekday responsibilities. I think he was doing, obviously, his Channel 8 stuff and some Aztec stuff. So he was only able to do the weekend games during spring training, and they didn't have any backup. This was long before Jesse got to town, and they needed someone to fill in Monday to Thursday, 4 games. And I was out there. I was doing pre- and post-game with Craig, our midday host, Craig Elston, And they said, "Can you do 4 games with Jerry?" And I was like, yes. I mean, I had never done any really professional play-by-play. The chance to sit next to him, a Hall of Famer, even just meaningless spring training games, and call 4 big league baseball games with Jerry Coleman remains one of the absolute highlights of my professional life. And I may never get another chance to do a baseball game. We did one with Jesse.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Once at spring training a few years ago.
It's horrific. Worst day of my life.
But yeah, no offense to Jesse, sitting next to Jerry just hit a little bit different for 4 days.
Sorry, Jesse.
Sorry,
if you're
Jesse.
listening. I'm sorry.
He'll
you
understand.
You didn't need to catch that unnecessary shrapnel from Ben.
I love Jesse.
I do.
It hits a little differently
What
when
was
you're
a
sitting next to the
bigger
Colonel.
moment in your career? Calling games with the Colonel or eating fettuccine through a hole in a GIMP mask?
Kind of different ends of the spectrum, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I look more fondly upon the calling games with the Colonel moment than last
What
year's
tasted
Christmas
better?
extravaganza.
The fettuccine, obviously, tasted much better.
I don't know. They had a lot of good chain restaurants in Peoria.
They do.
So
They really, really
sure
do.
I ate something good that week.
Rest
when I
in
was
peace to the great Jerry Coleman.
there. Miss him still to this day. Can't believe it's been 10 years.
10 years,
I
man.
mean, where does the time go?
Blink of an eye, my friend.
10 years today.
Kyle Glaser's up next.
Yeah,
from Baseball America.
let's take a time out. We'll come back. Baseball America's Kyle Glaser will join us, who is potentially ready. If the Padres need to call on those minor leaguers, are any of them set? And not to be, I mean, I'm not even thinking Corbin Carroll here.
I was able to find at least one clip from the booth takeover for you guys with Jesse
Oh,
Agler.
no.
Yeah. This was February of 2020.
It's not like we saved the good ones. We only saved the bad ones.
Oh, like the one that's labeled Ben's first flub of the game.
Just threw his bat out and put it where they're not over there on the left side of the field. Nice piece of hitting by Greg Garcia.
Sorry, Greg. Good tier 1 Greg Garcia. Got to
Just threw his bat out and put it where they're not over there on the left side of the field. Nice piece of hitting by Greg Garcia.
I'm no Jesse Agler. I will admit that for sure.
Ben got some golf talk into the broadcast.
Are we still?
We're still doing
this
Yeah,
now.
no.
1-2 curve is outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Who's your favorite all-time golfer? Charlie Hoffman?
Reed.
Is he listening today, Charlie Hoffman?
I grew up cheering for Craig Stadler, the Walrus.
Oh, yeah,
because
sure.
he's local from San Diego. So he's probably still my all-time favorite. Love cheering. Masters champion.
Oh, man.
What happened to Kyle Glaser? Coming
He's
up next.
Yep.
Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back. The question is, can the Padres count on any of these top prospects in 2024 to contribute? Or are we deluding ourselves when we say, hey, yeah, the farm system looks good. It's going to start producing some talent. Padres need some of that talent now, though, or at least, by this summer, or this season could get very problematic for A.J. Preller and company. We're going to talk with Kyle Glaser from Baseball America. He is standing by. Get to him right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Crash the coastlines up on 5 past Tamarack. It's got the Tamarack on-ramp as well as that right lane blocked, so watch out for a little confusion there. Eastbound 78, just before Nordall Road, reports of a stalled car. Not showing if lanes are blocked. Accident on westbound 8, right around the 125, vehicle over the right shoulder and one in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And joining us right now, our friend from Baseball America, Kyle Glaser, with us here on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Happy New Year. Good morning, Kyle.
Hey, Happy New Year, guys.
How you doing, Kyle? I wanted to ask you kind of an open-ended general question based on your best educated guess. The state of the San Diego Padres right now. How is A.J. Preller? We know he's watching what this market is doing. We know he sees what guys are getting paid. How do you think he's feeling as a GM right now, knowing what he has left to work with?
Look, A.J. Preller and his staff are going to have to get very, very, very creative. They need a center fielder. There's not really any center field options you like left on the market. Some of the starting pitching options that are there are guys you don't really want to give a whole lot of money to. There's guys with some injury risk. So the fact that they're not going to be able to play at the top of the market for, say a Cody Bellinger, maybe bringing back a Blake Snell, when you look at the remaining options after that, there's not a ton you feel great about. So he and his staff are going to have to get creative, whether that's through trades, whether that's maybe moving some guys that are currently in the organization, moving positions and trying to do some other things. It's not going to be easy. At the same time, again, this is why a general manager and president of baseball ops gets paid. Find creative solutions.
It's exactly right. He's going to have to do some serious GMing and presidenting this offseason. Have you heard any rumors about potential position changes? Because I think, Fernando Tatis to center makes some sense. I do. We were laughing about it yesterday. Everybody always says, well, a cheap power-hitting corner outfielder is so easy to find, along with a first baseman. We need all of those, and yet, they're not really out there unless you do, in fact, get creative. So have you heard anything about guys potentially being looked at other positions?
Nothing internally from the organization. At the same time, I think you look at the way this roster is currently constructed, who's available on the free agent market, and moving Fernando Tatis Jr. to center, maybe signing, say, Jorge Soler and Eddie Rosario to 1 or 2 year deals to fill out the corners, that's certainly a more appealing option than trying to find one of the center fielders that are currently on the free agent market. So, outside of Cody Bellinger, of course, who's not going to be in the Padres price range. So I think that nothing official is being talked about yet. At the same time, you can clearly kind of read the tea leaves and see that given the state of things, that might be what they have to do.
Even if you could get Jorge Soler and Eddie Rosario on 1 year deals, which I'm guessing you can't, based on what we've seen in the market, that's probably more than the Padres are looking to spend with the rest of their offseason cash just right there, which leads me to believe at some point, Kyle, they're going to have to rely on their own minor league system to produce some of this talent. And I know Baseball America has been pretty glowing in their reviews of what AJ has done the last couple of years in the draft, in international signings, and in player development. Where did you guys rank most recently the Padres minor league system?
In our midseason organization talent rankings, I believe they were 7th. Again, those are a little dated at this point because you've had players graduate, you've had guys move around.
Right.
So we just wrapped up the prospect handbook. We're going to be putting together our top 100 prospects here shortly and an updated organization talent rankings after that. So,
but they were down in the 20s not that long ago, correct?
Correct. And that's where, again, you give a lot of credit to this organization, this scouting department, both domestically and internationally, bringing guys in, helping, identifying talent accurately, and then helping these guys get better. You've seen some really, really good picks hit. You look at Jackson Merrill, you look at Robbie Snelling, those were top of the draft kind of guys. And then they've also done a good job later in the draft. You look at guys like Graham Pauley, Jacob Marcy, Nathan Martorella, who are mid to late round picks. and they've all looked really, really good as well. So it's never been a question of if this organization can draft and develop. They can do both. The issue has been they've had a tendency to rush guys and put them in the major leagues when they're not ready, and thus they don't get the best from them.
This is Kyle Glaser from Baseball America, and you're leading right into what my next question really was, and that is, you guys can see it, experts can see that these guys are good, really good minor leaguers compared to some of the other ones out there. So we know that they can do it on the minor league level. But now the question is, can they do it on the major league level? And is there something about the Padres that they've been doing wrong in not getting guys ready for the major league level? You kind of hinted at it where you said maybe rushing guys too fast, but it feels like they're going to have to do that again if they're going to fill out some of their 26-man roster this year with guys who weren't really on the radar a year ago, like Jacob Marcy or Graham Pauley, and now it feels like they're going to be relied on at least at some point here in 2024. Is that too fast, Kyle?
Yes, the worst thing the Padres could do would be to repeat their mistakes of the past and rush these guys. None of these guys are remotely ready to be on an opening day roster. Most of these guys have some partial AA seasons, less than half a AA season. That's true of Jackson Merrill. Ethan Salas should not have been in AA last year at all. He was nowhere near ready for it. He needs to start the year in high A and get a full season, maybe 2 more in the minors. You look at these guys, Paulie, Marcy, Motorella, they came up for a little bit of time in AA. All these guys need at least another half season to a full year in the minors. And if the Padres make the same mistakes of the past and rush it and try and force it, they're not going to get the best from these guys. So realistically, looking at the Padres right now, the major league roster they have, what the best timelines for all these prospects would be, I do think 2024 is going to be more of a transition year where they're going to have some struggles in the major leagues, but they give these guys, these prospects, really, really, the development they need. And then 2025, you have this good major league core of Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish, etc. And now these guys are more ready to contribute in the major league. So you don't need to do a rebuild. It's not going to be terrible, but I think rushing them for the purposes of 2024 would not do the organization any good short-term or long-term.
Talking to Kyle Glaser, Baseball America here on Ben and Woods this morning, and you're talking about, repeating the mistakes of the past. And, a very astute listener tweeted in earlier in the week, we can't keep repeating the mistakes of the past when we go out and trade some of our better prospects for major league ready talent. A lot of them have worked out. AJ's offseason trades, as my buddy David just DM'd me, they've been really, really good. The midseason trades, not so much. So that would be, in your opinion, another mistake. Again, if you were going to unload, 1, 2, 3 of these guys for guys that can come in, play the outfield, play first base, maybe even toe the slab as well. That's another set of mistakes that they can't repeat.
I wouldn't go that far. I think if there's a deal that makes sense, it's worth making. I wouldn't say that would be a mistake. It just depends on what the deal is and who the player you're bringing back is. I mean, no one would look at the Yu Darvish trade, the Blake Snell trade, or the Joe Musgrove trade and say those were mistakes. Those were great trades. The Padres have a really good track record of making deals in the offseason. As you noted, it's their deadline trades that have not been great. And some of that's because they're rushing or they're, maybe just they're being a little impulsive on some of them, trying to go for it. So I think if there's a trade that makes sense, it's fine. There's no such thing as an untouchable prospect. And if the deal makes sense, go ahead and pull the trigger. It's just a matter, I would say that the mistake would be putting these guys in the majors on opening day, or I'd even say, probably for most of them, even by the All-Star break, these guys need time, and trying to shoehorn them in to fill the major league roster holes, especially when you consider, Graham Pauley and Jackson Merrill, if you're going to put them in the outfield, now you're trying to add a whole new position onto them. That's going to take even more time. Trying to force that in the major leagues on opening day would sidetrack both of them. So, again, if there's a trade to make, sure, make it. But the mistake would be rushing guys, not necessarily trading them.
Kyle, I think when you said the phrase transition season in 2024, it definitely had some people feeling a little nervous about what's coming up here. Is there an optimistic way of looking at that even if it is a transition season, that could be yeah, you've got some holes early in the year, but you also have some talent, and they keep you, treading water until later in the year when maybe some of those guys are coming up and ready, and you finish strong, make it to the playoffs, and obviously we know that anything can happen in the postseason. Do you feel like that's at least an optimistic but yet somewhat realistic view of what the Padres could be in 2024?
We have to see what they do the rest of the offseason. As currently constructed, this is not a playoff team, and it's not close to a playoff team. There's too many holes. There's too many players slated to get playing time that should not be starting games in the major leagues and really should barely be on 26-man rosters. So they're going to have to get really creative this offseason. Right now, this is the fourth best team in the National League West. They're going to be, the Dodgers are better, the D-backs are better. Them versus the Giants is a debate. There's a lot of holes that have to be filled. There's a big drop-off of talent from the front of the rotation to the back of the rotation, from the top of the lineup to the bottom of the lineup, and one or two additional players are not going to fix that. It's going to be more than that. And given their financial state, again, they're going to have to get really creative to kind of fill those holes out. So, again, if they can do that, maybe we can reassess in March. But as currently constructed today, the playoffs are not really in the picture. This is not a playoff team.
You heard it here on Ben and Woods.
Yeah.
Kyle Glaser.
Well, that explains the 2024 Padres slogan. We're reasonably sure we're better than the Rockies.
Us versus the Giants.
They're definitely better than the Rockies. But look, you stack them up against the Dodgers, it's no comparison.
Right.
You stack them up against the defending NL champion D-backs, it's no comparison. Go position by position with the Giants. They have more top-end talent, but the drop-off from, their fifth best hitter to their ninth best hitter is more steep. So there are a lot of holes that need to be filled, and that's why, again, there is some wisdom to ultimately the goal is to make this team as competitive year in and year out as much as possible. The fact is this is an 82-win team a year ago. They've gotten worse, and, the best thing for them long-term is to let this talented young group of prospects develop, come up, supplement in 2025, and maybe that's where you start to see a 90-win team taking shape. You don't really see that happening this year.
Kyle, tell me what you know about Leonidas Debris, who is supposed to sign with the Padres in 10 days, shortstop from the Dominican Republic, one of the best prospects allegedly in baseball right now, and he will be a San Diego Padre. Is that a fact?
Yeah, he's projected to sign with the Padres, and the way the international market works is most of these kids have agreements with teams a year or 2 years before an actual international signing day. So he's connected to the Padres. He's projected to receive the second largest bonus in the international signing class. Again, the Padres have done a really, really good job scouting domestically, internationally, getting top-end talent into their farm system. That's never been the problem. It's making all the pieces fit in the major leagues. But he's a talented young player and yet another really good player for the Padres to be adding to their organization.
Talking to Kyle Glaser from Baseball America. Somewhat sobering, Kyle's perspective on things. And
we needed it. We're cheerleaders,
Well,
remember.
no, and I guess one of the things that I'm thinking about is if Kyle's right, and he very well could be, if the Padres go through this transition year, and let's say everything goes really well with these minor leaguers, and the top prospects continue to develop, and they really look like they're about to bust through, and Marcy and Paulie, and as Kyle said, 2025 could be a really good, 90-plus win playoff team, but they kind of languish in mediocrity, 75, 80 wins this year. Does A.J. Preller survive into it to see the fruits of his labors even in 2025? Is there a way to sell that to the Padres fans, to the ownership? Hey, yeah, we're doing really, really well. What are you talking about? You finished fourth in the NL West. Fans need more than this for what we're paying for this roster. You can't finish fourth, but hey, everything we wanted with these minor league guys are coming through. It's going to be, I think, a potential dilemma, as they get late in this season.
Absolutely. Look, and this is where it goes back to A.J. Preller. His first full season overseeing this team was 2015, and they have yet to have a 90-win season. He's had more manager hires than any general manager really has ever had in recent baseball history. That's a conversation that I'm sure will be had. I think that's where setting expectations is important. Again, I would like to reiterate, we still have, almost 3 months until opening day. So a lot can change. Maybe they get creative, they make some trades, they are able to make a really good signing or two. And maybe on opening day, we look back and say, you know what, they've upgraded this roster and maybe it can contend for a playoff spot. So a lot can change between, today as we're talking and opening day. But if things stay as they are now, it would be very, very important for the front office to kind of set expectations of, look, realistically, this is where we are, this is what we're going for, and be forthright with ownership and the fan base and let the chips fall where they may.
No, all right, Kyle. Well, that was
appreciate it.
Yeah,
we needed it. No, we needed to hear it.
We need all perspectives here,
we do.
And we always appreciate your work. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a good weekend.
No problem, guys.
Hi, buddy. Thank you.
Kyle Glaser from Baseball America. I do think that it's almost an impossible sell, even if everything in the minor leagues goes perfectly this year, and the Padres are, in fact, projected to be loaded, 2025 through 2028. Can A.J. Preller survive another bad season in the big leagues? Or will we get to the end of the year and, hey, the GM job in San Diego looks pretty ripe. I mean, you're walking into a pretty good situation with a stacked minor leagues, some good talent already in the major leagues, and we're going to be one of those, like they say with the Chargers, what a great job. You got a quarterback in place and you're taking over in a good situation. Will someone be taking over a good situation at the end of 2024, or can AJ talk his way into staying, even if the Padres don't succeed on the big league level this year?
Yeah, I mean, again, and I think it's important to note what Kyle said. I mean, there's still plenty of time to build a better roster than you have. I think he was saying, as it stands today, that's not a playoff team, and I agree with him. You have one guy that can play the outfield, 1.5.
A lot of balls fall in when you have 1.5 outfielders out there.
I've played many an adult league game with 2 outfielders, and believe you me, those balls find the holes, all right? So they find the holes sometimes when there's 3 outfielders out there in adult league. But, if you're A.J. Preller, you don't want to lose this gig. You hold on to this gig like grim death, So aren't you going to do what you have to do to put a winner on the field, which is, again, kind of what the fans have been promised, and season ticket prices have gone up. I don't know how well Padres fans are going to swallow, or should they swallow, a transition year. I just don't know that it's in the cards.
I disagree with Kyle in that I don't think we'll hear from the Padres a real managing of expectations. We've
already kind of heard a little bit.
They've tried to manage perhaps payroll expectations.
Sure.
But you can't ever sell, hey, we think finishing above 500 is a good year for us.
No way.
I don't think you'll hear anything like that. Hey, our goal is to improve from last year, have a winning season, but if we don't make the playoffs, it's okay. I can't see that ever coming out of anybody's mouth at Petco Park this year.
You'd be a fool to say that.
The only expectation you can set if you're the Padres, if you're Mike Schilt, if you're A.J. Preller, we have to make the playoffs.
You cannot tell.
You got to make the playoffs.
You can't say that to people after.
Now, you can hope you make the playoffs with 85 wins, depending on how things shake out. There's a lot of playoff spots now available in Major League Baseball. You don't have to win 100 games to make the postseason. But to me, there's no level of expectation below making the playoffs that's okay for the San Diego Padres.
Drew said, way to set the mood going into the weekend, boys. I'm sorry. No, I mean, look, it's good to get that perspective. You want to prove, if you're the players and AJ and everybody, you want to prove everybody wrong.
I think that it is... Playoffs has to be the goal. There's no successful season that doesn't end with the Padres in the postseason.
100%. You have to.
In my mind.
You have to.
Even in Major League Baseball nowadays, I think that's true of most teams. There are a few that are truly, horrible rebuild, but we'll continue this discussion. Reindl Report, Paulie's Headlines, coming up next, final hour of the week on The Fan.
Got a tweet from our pal Gavin. Says, a great segment with Kyle Glaser. Who's up next? The Grim Reaper?
Oh, God.
And I don't want anyone to paint Kyle with a hater
Kyle's
brush.
doing his job.
We have guests like him on. Come on and give us their honest opinion, the truth.
But Baseball America has been incredibly favorable toward A.J. Preller and his minor league moves and what he's done in the low levels. So I think you have to
pay off.
You have to assign some credibility. You can't just say he just hates A.J. Preller and wants to say he doesn't like the Padres. No. He's gone. A lot of people, in fact, have criticized Baseball America for being too high on the Padres.
There's no
in
right
the minor
answer,
leagues at times.
right, at this point. And again, it is important to denote his whole point was as it stands today. And I think that's important because there is time to build that out. Guys are coming off the board every day. You have a limited budget. Again, the creativity is going to be paramount. We've seen AJ be very creative before. We do need some magic, perhaps, to lift that negative vibe, Paulie.
Clear the air.
Clear the air.
Cast a spell.
Cast a spell.
Samfire, Pasquingus, go get it. Quinn Drobot, Lantasilio, go.
All right, done.
Feel better now.
Feel better already.
We just fixed the Padres.
Yep, fixed.
Samfire, Pasquingus, go get it. Quinn Drobot, Lantasilio, go.
If you didn't join us yesterday, that's Welsh Friar, Padres fan from Wales. And that is the name of a town in northern Wales. Yep. It's 52 letters long in the Welsh language.
Samfire, Pasquingus, go get it. Quinn Drobot, Lantasilio, go.
Hey, what are you off to this weekend? I'm going to go head over to...
Samfire, Pasquingus, go get it. Quinn Drobot, Lantasilio, go.
.com.
Wife and I grabbing an Airbnb in...
Samfire, Pasquingus, go get it. Quinn Drobot, Lantasilio, go.
We got to make a shirt.
Bakery and cafe.
I think we have to make a shirt. Just that.
5 lines of that word.
Of that word.
I would say, though, and to be fair, because Kyle said the offseason's not over. If we looked at the Arizona Diamondbacks roster 12 months ago today, no one would have said that they looked like a playoff team. They were probably being picked as the 4th best team pretty solidly in the National League West at that point. Yeah. So there are changes and developments that can be made between now and February, now in March, now in September.
Now in July, yeah.
The teams do not look the same all the time. It's a constantly evolving process. And you don't want to put yourself in the position where every year you need to be the Diamondbacks, because there at most is one Diamondbacks every year. A team that, surprises and was supposed to win 72 games and ends up getting into the playoffs and making a run. It happens, but it doesn't hapen every year.
There's
and
a
it's
few
rare.
Last year, there's
I mean, the Reds had a nice season, but they fell short.
Yeah,
the Orioles were good.
Yeah, there's a bunch of teams that overperformed last year. I think there's a lot of teams that underperformed.
But you'd rather be the team that's expected to be there and then gets there, rather than every year being the team that's not expected 100%. To be there and then has to surprise
100%
to get there.
Yeah, you want to be like, but we also thought we would wake up in the morning and win 100 games last year, and that didn't work out in our favor at all. And it wasn't just we, the Ben and Woods cheerleaders that we are. It was every single writer across the country, top to bottom, in every market, all said the same thing. So everybody was left with a little egg on their face last year with their predictions and projections for the San Diego Padres. I hope that the same is true this year. I hope the exact same thing happens. I hope everyone's left with egg on their face with their projections and predictions for the 2024 San Diego Padres, because no one is going to give us a shot to do anything. So I hope the exact same thing happens.
Speaking of egg on their face, I believe Paulie has a story in the Reindl Report.
About egg?
About someone with, an embarrassing moment. Isn't that what egg on your face means? An embarrassing moment?
Right.
Paulie, if you would.
Get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right. Today's Carver Day, by the way.
Carver Day.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's Carver Day.
All right.
That fast food restaurant in Peoria with the Butterburgers.
That's Carver's.
Carver's Day.
It's really good.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
They have lasagna at Carver's.
What is Carver Day? I'm going to look it up, Paulie, while you...
I don't
George
think it's
Washington Carver
It's not
was
like-
a famous, botanist or...
I don't know, but I don't think they have a day celebrating carvers, do they? I mean, I celebrate them. Carver Day.
I guess I can tell you if you really want to know.
No, it's one of the rare national days that commemorate an African-American figure. It started... No, it's George Washington Carver. There you go. All right.
I was right.
You're right.
There you go.
Noteworthy agricultural scientist and inventor. I don't want to take away from his day by playing roast beef Carver, so we won't do that anymore.
Okay.
Happy Carver Day.
Happy Carver Day to everybody.
They should just call it Happy George Washington Carver Day so that we know that we're not
confused.
Did you catch a game last night?
I just said.
Why would that guy have his own day?
That guy should not get his own day.
All right, gentlemen, we will start story in the NBA here. Shaquille O'Neal is going to have his jersey retired by the Orlando Magic.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
the Lakers already retired his jersey.
Lakers have. He's got a statue.
Yeah.
He's everything. But he did start his career with the Orlando Magic. They went to an NBA Finals. And here's the thing I did not know. The Orlando Magic have never retired anybody's number before. Ever. And
wow,
Shaq got the news yesterday, and it was pretty cool how it happened.
That was like 40 years ago, it feels like.
So yesterday was Thursday. That means it was the doubleheader on TNT inside the NBA. Shaq, Chuck, Kenny, Ernie, everybody. And that is how Shaq got the news. He was expecting some sort of correspondence from the Orlando Magic, and then all of a sudden you'll hear the audio here, the do-do-do-do-do, like a FaceTime call coming in, and it's from the president of the Orlando Magic.
You have an idea?
He got a call from the Orlando Magic.
I don't know if he's gotten a call from.
I think that's what it is.
I don't know. But there. How about that? There's a call from Alex Martins, who's the CEO of the Orlando Magic. Let's listen in.
Hi, Shaq. Alex Martins with the Orlando Magic. I hear you've been waiting for a phone call from us, and the wait is over. On behalf of the DeVos family and myself and all of us here at the Orlando Magic, we want to congratulate you as we make you the first jersey number retired in the history of the Orlando Magic. You had a great career here at the beginning of your career, and we had some great times. You took us all the way to the NBA Finals, and it's finally time to put that number up in the rafters. So congratulations on behalf of all of us. We look forward to having you here in Orlando to celebrate.
Sounded very organic.
Right,
very
extremely organic.
And not at all planned or scripted or written out.
Now,
hello, we are very pleased.
I Googled just Orlando Magic legends to see who we're competing against here.
And Grant Hill.
Penny and Dwight Howard.
Oh, God.
And it gets pretty dicey after that. Number 5 all time, Nick Anderson.
God, I'm dying.
Just a very solid basketball player, but if he's your 5th best player in franchise history, it's been a pretty
But a little
it's been a pretty weak franchise
Hardaway,
history.
Shaq, and Grant Hill have never. I mean, so Shaq then starts talking, and he did say that they do have a Ring of Honor, but no retired jerseys.
Okay.
Except, well, here's what happened when Shaq was named for the Ring of Honor. He thought he was getting both years ago.
Orlando, one of the few franchises in the league that does not have a retired jersey.
Well, they tried to wait him out till he was gone.
And
you know what's funny? So a couple years ago, they did the Ring of Honor, and I thought I was getting my jersey retired. So when I went there, I'm waiting to do the thing. So they take me like on the top floor, and they just have like a wall. They did this thing. They did the press conference. I was like, that's it. I was like, I thought I was getting my jersey. He's like, man, we don't do that here. So
he's there to get his name on the Ring of Honor that maybe goes around the arena or something, or up on the wall. And he's like, I'm looking up in the rafters, like, where's my jersey? He goes, I thought I was getting that too.
Like, no, not tonight, bud.
No, but he is getting it now, and well earned for Shaquille O'Neal.
Love it.
All right, next story. We've got a story. This could have actually been in Don't Do This. Sports related. It is the wife of a famous athlete.
Okay.
But the story's more about bad tippers.
It's my number one bugaboo. Number one.
Brittany Mahomes. It's her
No,
turn.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So I guess there's a trend on TikTok. Today, I realized the world doesn't like Brittany Mahomes because of why. And this person goes on and she explains what happened with her experience with Brittany Mahomes.
Today I realized the world doesn't like Brittany Mahomes, not because she's annoying.
No, I don't like her because she doesn't tip restaurant staff. I worked at the One Hotel West Hollywood. I was a server, barista, bartender. I did every position, and I believe Brittany was in town to shop for her wedding dress. And my first interaction with her, she ran up over $100 tab. She was with her whole posse. Patrick was not there, but I believe their tab was well over $100, maybe like $130. $0 tip.
Come on.
And that happens sometimes, so I was willing to let the first one slide, and I'm like, maybe she just didn't like me, maybe it was something I said, but they were there for almost a week, I think, and did not tip a single one of our staff. And not only did she not tip, she was just genuinely unpleasant, and I totally understand celebrities don't owe you anything, especially when you're out in public. As a public figure, you should always go out thinking, okay.
It's mostly here about the tipping.
That's unbelievable to me.
All right, here's where
I would say you should be subject to arrest and prosecution.
But here's the interesting thing.
Here comes him.
No. I'm actually piling on here. You'd think that someone who's been hanging out with Taylor Swift lately, she has been very, very well noted for her generosity.
No doubt. Yeah.
In terms of giving. Don't think you can be a bad tipper and hang out with Taylor for very long. Because if Taylor gets word of that, my guess is she'd be unhappy to hear such stories.
I still hang out with you every day.
I'm a good tipper. Come on. 20% at least.
Okay, good.
You're an insanely good tipper. I will give Woods credit. Woods is an outstanding tipper. I am a just solid 20% solid tipper.
Solid. I keep every year, every 3 months or so, somebody will send some tweet. And I think they're just looking to get stomped on. I think they have a fetish about, like, I just want to get crushed today. And they're like, I'm not tipping anymore. This is absurd. Now, in Europe, I know they don't tip. I still did. Which is like, it's weird because there it's almost like insulting to tip them, but they take better care of their servers and people like that. But I do feel like, if you're even anywhere near, it doesn't matter what you do or who you are, you need to tip 20% at least. But especially if you're in the public eye and somebody knows who you are, you absolutely throw a little bit extra at them, man.
Do you tip the same on takeout versus dine-in? I always tip more dine-in.
I pretty much do now.
Like, I'll tip 20, 25. If I'm dining in and people are like bringing me food and filling water and stuff, you got to give like 20, 25%. If it's just like someone packed it for takeout, I'm more like a 10%.
Well, and now there's really no excuses now. It's so much easier. I mean, just about everything is electronic pay now.
Yeah.
So even if you are ordering takeout and you go on an app or DoorDash or something, like, it gives you the opportunity right there.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you 15%, 18%, 20%, or custom.
Yeah, they do the work for you.
Yeah. You got to go out of your way to be a bad tipper now.
You really do. You have to go out of your way to hit zero on it. I tip.
True.
I try to tip everybody.
The people that write 0.00 in the tip
You're a
line,
monster.
That's like the worst of the worst.
Yeah, I don't.
You could just, I guess, leave it blank.
How much do you tip
try
at
to play it
Jersey
off.
Mike's?
20. It's the furthest button over.
Even on just one sandwich, just a sandwich, 20%.
Yeah, you know why though? It's not, and I think about this too when I call in a DoorDash order. I always think to myself, they're slammed. I mean, they're absolutely slammed, and then I got to pack
My lazy
this.
ass doesn't want to go out.
Yeah, I'm going to pay a premium for this. So, but yeah, Jersey Mike's. I just hit the 20%.
And a $12 sandwich. What are you tipping? $3,
Yeah.
$4, whatever
See,
it is.
like a $12 sandwich, I will tip $1 even.
Oh God,
That's
Ben.
12%.
I'm so sorry.
That's 12%.
I can't believe you just said that on
Embarrassing.
there.
Right?
He made your sandwich for you and did it to your specifications.
Well,
Just like a chef.
If everybody tipped $1 and they have probably 300-400 customers coming in, you're making good money in tips.
What if everybody tipped $2? You're making better money in tips.
Yeah, but
true.
Then you're making more than we're making.
No, you're not. Just hit 20%.
$800 a day.
Just hit 20% on that thing and walk away. You will not miss it.
Huh.
Can't take it with you. You won't miss it. Make you feel good.
I feel good about leaving $1.
See, I'm more of a monster in my everyday life, so I feel like tipping helps balance out my karmic scales a little bit every day. So that's why I'm such a good
Like, it was 2 sandwiches and $2,
Oh my!
Just like I up it based on that.
No.
But if I'm not being served, if I'm the one who has to stand and do and get my own drinks and everything, I don't tip as much. It's more like 10% on those, and it's 20 to 25% on full service.
So sorry to anybody.
I mean,
I'm so sorry.
Okay, if you're tipping 20%, aren't you insulting restaurant waiters then who are doing way more work? Or are you giving them like 50%?
I usually give the server at a nice restaurant between 30 and 35.
Okay.
Yeah. So they get a little more than the Jersey Mike's guy.
They should get a lot more.
Tips are cool.
I feel like what they
tipped.
do is like double what someone. I mean, I like putting my sandwich together, but that's it's like a minute. Someone who waits on you in a restaurant for like an hour and a half and does a ton of things deserves more than just 5% more than the guy who just put together your sandwich.
Like back to Brittany Mahomes. If it was a $130 tab for breakfast or whatever she was ordering, for me, the easiest way I do it is I always go. I start with 10%. I know $130, 10% is $13. And then I double that right away for 20%, which would be $26.
Yep.
I would round up to
just to $30.
That's a $30 tip.
That sounds about right for what I do at a restaurant.
All right, let's move on finally quickly here. Jen Sherman, the Peloton instructor, she was in the news yesterday. A clip went viral from one of her classes.
Is that your girl, Jen Sherman?
No, Leanne Hainsby is mine.
Okay. This is Leanne.
Jen is not
I've
British.
done some classes with Jen Sherman.
I think I have too.
She was working out with everybody, and the song was a Travis Scott song from the movie Tenet, which is directed by Christopher Nolan, the great Christopher Nolan. And, well, she had this to say I'll get to the punchline here in a second.
This song is from the soundtrack of a movie called Tenet. Anybody see this? Did anybody see this besides me? Because I need a manual. Someone's got to explain this. Yeah, I'm not kidding. What the is going on in that movie? Do you understand? Seriously, you need to be a neuroscientist to understand. And that's 2.5 hours of my life that I want back. I want it back.
So I don't know if you guys like when you're working out, if you have the Peloton instructor kind of talking about their day-to-days or anything like that. I kind of would prefer to just focus on the workout. Here's the thing. Christopher Nolan was working out on that class.
In the class, right?
In his home or whatever, on his personal Peloton. He was in that class live when it happened.
He must have been so panicked when she started talking about it.
He goes, I'm on my Peloton. I'm dying. And the instructor started talking about one of my films and said, did anyone see this? That's a couple hours of my life I'll never get back.
Oh, my God. I bet she's mortified.
I would think so. I mean, just as an instructor, you're supposed to be inspirational. You're supposed to be helping your students achieve their best, and you're ripping a guy. Now, how did she ever know that he was in her class?
I mean, there's a screen of all the names, but there's a million people
what's his
in there.
username? I have no idea what it is.
The Dark Knight 32.
Tenet sucks. At Tenet.
I love Interstellar.
Did you see Tenet?
I haven't seen Tenet.
I haven't either. I'm not going to now. Well, if she said I need a manual to get through it, it's not for me. It's probably for you. It's not
Christopher
for me.
Nolan movies are complex.
Sure.
Inception.
But they're worth the effort to understand them, I would think.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's a bad look for her that she's not even willing to put in the effort to try to understand a very well-made, complicated movie.
Well, if 2.5 hours long, she made it probably 2 hours longer than I would have made it. I cannot watch a movie anymore. I
need
just
to
can't.
start Oppenheimer. I haven't seen it yet. I'd
It'll
like to watch it.
It'll take me 6 months.
I'll break it down over a week.
I still haven't finished the Scorsese movie. What is it? Flowers of the Indian. What is it?
Flowers of the
Desert
Moon
Murder.
My son watched it. He said it was good. It was very long.
It's
Flowers of the something Moon.
The Desert Moon.
It's not.
I
desert.
don't know.
Killers
of the Flower Moon.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
You guys almost had it.
I mean, I have been watching it for a month now, and I'm still not done with it. I have no attention span.
JR says the score of Tenet was awesome.
All right, I'll check that out.
It's always sports.
You have to go to the bathroom.
All right, that was the Reindl Report, a little extended version. We just got a couple of segments to go, getting ready for a little Annie and Elston on a Friday. I know if you're looking forward to crossing streams like we have each and every Friday, it's gone. Craig has stolen it for his own show.
Yeah.
How very, very selfish and rude of him, but you will be getting his top shows from 2023 countdown, I believe, on the program coming up in a couple of hours. So stay tuned for that. More Ben and Woods after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. our YouTube stream.
In the studio here still.
It's, a lot of people agree with you. A lot of people agree with me.
How many people agree with you, Ben?
A lot.
He's got some.
Well, there's definitely. You make it sound like my policy is you don't tip for anything. My policy is that standard tipping is okay. Woods' policy is that unless you are over and above, beyond generous with every single person you encounter all day long,
You're a monster.
then you're a monster.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you pretty much that's not hyperbole. You summed it up pretty well.
Honestly, if every person tipped like Woods, the service industry would be the best job in the world. It would be the best job in the world. But not everybody tips like Woods does.
My mom is the same.
It's still a rough job.
It is a rough job. It's so hard. You're on your feet and you're dealing with a-holes all the time. Just a-holes everywhere. They're so particular. And
I never hold bad service against my server.
I don't either.
Which maybe you should, but I always figure it's probably the restaurant's fault. They're understaffed. Something's gone wrong. I will not tip less just because my food took forever or whatever. Like I couldn't get the attention of my waiter. That has nothing to do with it. I blame the restaurant and the staffing levels for things like that.
People have bad days too,
One time when I was bartending, pretty crowded bar, a lot of people hanging out at the bar wanting drinks, and I had a guy, he kept doing this, snapping. Hey, kept snapping at me, and I just ignored that side of the bar entirely.
100%.
I waited until every single person got a drink, maybe a second drink, and then finally he got louder, kept snapping, and I just turned to him, and I was told I could do this, so I did it. I just said, hey, I'm not an effing dog. Don't you ever snap at me again.
Don't snap at me, buddy. This is something I don't do. M. McKee, 23 in the chat says, I leave snacks and water for delivery drivers. That's something I do need to be better at. I did tip my postman $100 this year. Do you tip your mail carrier?
Just leave a little bottle of whiskey in the...
Did you?
No, I did not.
You didn't tip
I don't
him?
even know who my mail carrier is.
That's sad.
I don't typically give a ton of tips of the cap to the big conglomerates out there, but Amazon did something really cool during the month of December, during the holiday push. If you ordered something on Amazon, which probably we all did, you could just search. I think you went into the search bar and you type in tip my driver, and it was able to connect your order to whoever was going to be the one delivering it, and Amazon would tip them an extra $5.
Pretty solid.
It doesn't make a lot
No
of
cost to
sense,
you.
though, who we've decided to tip and not tip. I mean, wouldn't let's say a nurse, when you go to the doctor, nurse would seem like someone who you'd want to tip really generously. Like, oh, wow, I didn't feel that injection at all. Great job on that blood draw. I'm going to tip you 50%. They don't leave a tips, place to sign tips when you check out of the doctor's office at the end of the day. But like any other employee in a service type industry, no one deserves it more than a good nurse would deserve a phenomenal tip. I've never tipped a nurse in my life. Have you tipped a nurse?
No. But
How do we decide what is worthy of a tip and what is not worthy of a tip?
The hospitality industry.
But isn't that somewhat hospitality?
Really. That's the medical field.
Because someone's called it that. But good medical professionals also have a great touch of hospitality to what they do.
That's true, but that's what they do.
But you feel like,
everything is what they do. I mean, pouring drinks is what bartenders
That's
do,
true.
but you tip them. I mean, if you go to get new tires at Firestone later today, do you tip those guys?
Maybe.
You probably should, even though that's their job is to fix
your
your car. You're
mechanic.
paying
You tip
for that
your
service.
mechanic.
I tip my mechanic.
You do tip your mechanic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's legit. Because I can go to his house and drop my thing off.
That's a little different, too.
Yeah, he's great.
But and it's hard to decide.
Do you tip the pilot when you get off an airplane?
Should. You absolutely should. I should be greasing
But
that guy.
nobody does.
I should be greasing that guy $100, but I think he's very well compensated.
But that shouldn't have anything to do. Should that have something to do with it? I mean, do we have to wear a sign that shows how well we're compensated? And
I don't feel like we get enough tips, to be honest with you, here on Ben and
Do
Woods.
we need to put a tip jar out at our next remote?
Can you imagine? I'd be so mortified. Sticking a tip jar out. No,
I mean,
you.
if
You guys do
Fernando
enough for us.
Tatis Jr. has a great game and you're hugely entertained, should we leave him tips at the end of the day? Or because he's so well compensated, we don't have to tip him?
Do you tip your dentist? No, I don't tip my dentist.
Do you tip at Petco Park when you order?
I did until I found out they're not getting all the money. So then when I found
feel
that
bad
out, I
still.
got bummed.
And then we don't,
It feels a little dirty to hit no, but when you have to pay electronically now at Petco
And
Park.
Shelley was telling me, because there are restaurants that some do tip pools. Like, I want to tip the person that was serving me, especially if they were doing well.
No, you tip everybody.
But a lot of restaurants will just pool their tips.
Yeah, they pool their tips. You got to take care of the bar
Even
back.
when you think you're leaving your server let's call it a $40 tip, part of that's going to the back of the
kitchen
house.
staff. Yeah, 100%.
It's all kind of the same thing.
Yeah, 100%. That's enough tipping talk. All right, somebody just tipped us $3. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much, man.
Woods will come personally give you a hug.
Anytime. I would have done it for free.
Percentage-wise, since we're charging 0, that's an infinite tip. That is a huge tip on what we're actually charging.
300%
tip for the boys.
Now, if we charge $300 for this show, that's a 1% tip. That's a crummy tip.
That's true.
Since we charge nothing, that's a great tip for Ben and Woods.
Vincent says, go back to the Padres. Enough tipping talk. All right, you want to talk about Oscar Mercado. Coming up next, Kevin Plawecki, what he's going to bring to
you
the
just
team.
Replay Kyle Glaser saying this is the 4th place team at best. I was thinking about it during Kyle Glaser's interview. He said, we're pretty much better than the Rockies.
Yeah.
And that's about all you can draw right now as the roster is currently constructed. So a couple years ago, it was, what was the hashtag take the cake?
Take the cake.
Last year was San Diego Padres, hashtag bring the gold.
Yep.
This year, 2024, hashtag better than the Rockies.
Better than the Rockies.
Let's open the phones for Topic Wheel, too.
Okay.
833-288-0973 if you want to spin the Tier 1 Topic Wheel in our final segment of the week. We can get to that as well. Coming up next, Ben Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It's been a wide-ranging Friday program here on Ben and Woods. From some sobering talk about the 2024 San Diego Padres with Kyle Glaser, from Ben's weird habits in our 7 o'clock hour, and also some of Woods and Paul's weird habits as well, to tipping talk that took over pretty much the last 15 minutes of the show. We've gone just about everywhere today.
I could do tipping talk for hours. I really could. It fascinates me, and gotten buddies texting me saying I love the tipping talk because it just makes me curious sociologically to see where people fall. And listen, my mom, that's how she is. She's the most generous human I know. So I've always just kind of followed along in that vein. Makes you feel good to make somebody's day.
I'd say be as generous as you can, as often as you can, but don't feel bad.
Sure.
If you can't all the time, and
I'll make you
don't
feel bad
all the time.
You know, you
don't make people feel bad.
No,
about
not people,
that.
just you. I will make you
Me.
feel bad. Yeah. You did pick up the tab at Starbucks the other night.
I did.
That was nice of you.
You're welcome.
You
got
points.
breakfast the other day.
I did. You had points, didn't you?
And I got points too.
And you got points out of the deal.
Yeah.
Did you tip the Starbucks person?
Yes.
Yeah. I think you clicked the middle button.
Yeah, probably
15%.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think I watched you. I'm always watching you, judging.
I mean, we weren't getting seated service.
No, it was not seated
I had to
service.
walk to the counter and get everything.
We did.
Myself,
We actually did. Yeah.
No one tips me for that.
That's true.
All right, let's check traffic one more time. We can get a little more Padres talk in. Tier 1 topic, Will. I see people calling in, 833-288-0973. Back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Couple of problems wrapping up our morning drive. Southbound 125 at Hamashaw got a collision in the clearing stage. And what used to be a couch, northbound 805 right before the 54, is now a bunch of couch debris across lanes to watch out for. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I lied. I don't have anything else to say about the Padres today. I'm pretty much done with my Padres talk for the week. Unless they make a move right now.
Which they won't. It'll be in 19 minutes if they do, in fact, do it. They did it to us again with the coaching announcement.
I did like Usuck Go's message to fans
it was fantastic.
yesterday that the Padres posted.
Paulie's going to pull it up.
They had a nice little video on the field at Petco Park. He looked sharp.
He did, dude.
Dressed in a tie. Looked excited to be a new member of the San Diego Padres. Gave some sincere words. Now, most of it's in Korean, so we don't have the translation that the Padres provided on their video, but he did have a few comments in English as well, and I liked that. It was nice to see one of the new members of the Padres that will.
Hello, Padres. My name is Go.
Love it.
Nice to meet you. 만나서 너무 반갑고 좋은 모습 보일 수 있도록 남은 기간 동안 몸 잘 만들어서 올 수 있도록 하겠습니다. 시즌 동안 파이팅.
Said I will.
It's all the name of one Korean town.
I'm very excited to meet you all.
좋은 모습 보일 수 있도록.
I'll continue to train hard during the rest of the off season.
남은 기간 동안 몸 잘 만들어서 올 수
to be well prepared for the upcoming season.
있도록 하겠습니다. 시즌 동안 파이팅.
Let's go.
So he says my name is Go. Is that his first name or that's his last name?
I don't know. I think it's his last name. I think that's the family name is Go.
But isn't Kim Ha-sung? That's how
Kim is his family name? But
it is.
Okay. So in Korea he'd be Go Usuck.
Okay, they put the last. So I'd be Woods Steven.
You'd be Woods Steven, I believe, and
Higgins
it's Kim Ha-sung.
Kim Ha-sung.
Here it's Ha-sung Kim. Here it's Usuck Go.
Okay.
But he just said, my name is Go, so maybe we should just call him Go when we see him.
I love it, man. I love it.
It's easy to remember. I will definitely. It's very easy to remember.
Well, and if you missed the exhilarating news yesterday, the Padres made a few minor league signings. Most familiar faces: Oscar Mercado again, catcher.
Just Mercado.
Mercado Oscar, Plawecki Kevin, Camarena Daniel, and Johnson Bryce. Bryce Johnson, Giants, 28 years old, plays center field. Can fly around the bases, man. Led the PCL with 30 bags in 21. Projects as a fifth outfielder, pinch runner type. But yeah, I mean, these are guys that are going to be filling holes in the minor leagues.
I feel like Daniel Camarena's cross to bear is that really he's had his best moment ever in baseball, and it's going to be almost
the grand slam.
Grand slam off of Max Scherzer.
Like he could throw like Man, he's really found his stuff. He's thrown 17 perfect innings in the big leagues this year. Not in a row.
Still the first thing on his,
you're the Grand Slam guy.
He's the Grand Slam guy.
But there's two ways you can go about it. You can kick the dirt and be like, man, everyone's just gonna remember me for being the Grand Slam guy. Or you can be like, that's me. I'm the Grand Slam guy, and milk it till you die.
I wonder if he has run into Max Scherzer after that at any point again.
I mean,
is that awkward?
Where would that happen?
I don't know, but I mean, they're baseball players. Is it possible that they met at at some point?
It would be
it's a bad moment for Max Scherzer.
I mean, so there was I will say this. If Bill Buckner could, when he was alive, sign pictures of him booting the ball and Mookie signing it as well. I've seen that out there. That exists. If Bill Buckner can sign that for a fan or something, then yes, Max Scherzer can sign that for...
Max Scherzer doesn't feel like he has a lot of humor to him.
I don't know, but that was a World Series game, and if Bill Buckner could get over it, Max Scherzer.
In the same ilk as a Bill Buckner autographed photo, I've seen this before, and I want it so badly.
Is it Nolan and Robin Ventura? Yeah, they've both signed
Nolan Ryan with Robin Ventura in a headlock and just bloodying his nose, just kicking the crap out of him, signed by both guys.
Both guys.
That's a tough one to sign if you're Robin Ventura.
Yeah, you got your ass... Hey, will you sign a picture of this when you got your ass kicked? Sure, fine.
You do it for charity or something.
Yeah, no doubt.
Not going to do that one for free.
You charged the mound and you got your ass kicked.
Let's get the couple of spins of the topic wheel before we get to some likes at the end of the program. And let's bring a tier one on. We got Alan calling in here. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Alan, you ready for some tier one topic wheel?
Yes, but I wanted to say one thing first. When Woodsy was talking about his trip to Europe and the tipping over there.
Yeah.
Okay, Woodsy, when you're over in Europe, your tip is included in the bill.
It is. Okay, I was still adding extra in there. Because I was in France, and I thought to myself, well, I feel like they hate me anyway.
You don't want to look like the ugly American.
I did not want to look like the ugly American.
But it's already in
tip. It's already in the bill.
Maybe that would be easier if we just did that here, too. But then everyone would say, everything's so expensive.
Right.
Put the tips in.
That happened. I learned it in Italy. While I was in motocross, I was over there with my friends from different countries. And we went to this little Italian restaurant, and we each night one of us paid the bill. And so my turn came, I paid the bill, and I left a tip. Next night we come in, the whole family came out and grabbed me and hugged me and everything. And then my friend said, "What in the heck did you do? Did you tip them?" And I said, "Yes." "Oh, it's in the bill. You yank." And then they said, "Now you're family."
Well, see, now I want that. That's what I want. All right, so I'm going to double tip now in Europe when I go.
Alan, stay there. Let's spin the topic wheel here.
Where are we going here? Let's see. All right, Alan. This is wow. The question is, what's the strangest thing you've ever eaten? Talking about eating overseas, maybe a different country. What is the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Ben, I know you've eaten some weird stuff before.
Not as much as you think.
Start with Alan.
Alan, you go.
Probably bugs, crickets.
Oh, you've done that.
Yeah, chocolate ones.
How was it?
Very crunchy.
They have the ballpark up in Seattle.
Yeah, you can eat them in Seattle.
Grasshoppers.
Did you eat them?
No, I've never eaten them.
No. Would you?
I've tried Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, I've eaten calf fries.
Honestly,
I did that in Denver last month.
We went on vacation, and this isn't as weird of a thing, but it's probably the most risky thing I ever ate. We were in Sayulita, Mexico, on vacation, and we went to this beach that was by a cemetery. It's a bad sign. And a guy was just selling oysters out of a cooler on the beach. And we just decided, let's just go for it. And we had freshly shucked oysters on a Mexican beach next to a cemetery. And we did not die. So that was pretty risky, I think. But
I've done a lot of risky stuff, none of it involving food per se. But I ate the calf fries. I've had.
I've done escargot.
I've done the brain.
I've had escargot.
I've done the, what is it? The brain.
Brain.
What? Yeah. What is it called
in
though?
Spanish?
Yeah,
you mean?
Is it?
It's what do they call it?
I can't
like
remember.
Sweetbreads, but
I've
it's
had
in American.
I had a bite.
It's not lengua. I've had lengua.
I've had lengua.
Tacos de sesos?
Lengua. Sesos, yeah. Brain.
Sesos.
Suaro. Say suaro? Cabeza's head. That's not just brain. That's actually like gelatinous parts of like the cow face usually. This isn't actually that pleasant of a conversation anymore. Let's get one more in. Let's got Ron. Ron, welcome to Tier 1 Topic Wheel. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, guys. I'm just a little worried about that fifth place better than the Rockies thing.
So are we, man. So are we.
Paulie spun it. He's keeping us moving here. What do we got? Last one for the week.
All right, Ron. Ron, what was your least favorite subject in school?
That's interesting.
Oh, absolutely math.
Math, yes. Fellow math moron.
I couldn't add jack. I couldn't do that. Math was horrible. Yeah.
They told us how important it would be. And now we all have calculators on our phones. And you don't really need to know it as much as you thought you would need to know it, in my opinion.
Spent like a whole semester on the Pythagorean theorem.
Correct.
Never addressed it once.
I got put in 8th grade in remedial math, and it was Mr. Dart. He was about 114 years old, and he taught me how to do algebra and stuff like that, and then geometry, and I got good at geometry.
Do you want my honest answer?
Yeah.
PE. I hated running. The bullies were all in PE.
Oh, no.
PE was my least favorite subject.
The best class.
I excelled in all the good, the academic classes. I was good in those.
Oh, Ben.
PE, I dreaded most days.
My heart just broke.
I know.
Friday. This has been a very depressing Friday show. We need to really bring the noise next week.
How about we wrap up the show with
just wrap it up.
Some things Ben likes.
Now that we know what I don't like, junior high PE.
Now this, if you remember back on the extravaganza, our last show of 2023, we debuted part 2 of Things Ben Likes. We've mashed them all together.
Yes, I've been waiting for this.
Here we go.
Full Monty.
I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh, no, I like it creamy.
I like good, firm banana. I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating. I like moist. I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paula Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
I like going to golf games. I like diving into chores.
I like sugar.
I do like Butterfinger. I like blue and silver are not bad colors. I like the time change. I like Major League Baseball's new rule. I like the radio. I like geography. I like the knuckle method. I like Skippy. And I like pie. I like Bob Melvin. I really do. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like this day. I like being right. I still do like movie scores. I like good food. I like maps. I like when interviews can turn into organic conversation. I do like a Stouffer's French bread pizza. I like having the wind go through my hair. I think I like shows that the characters have an arc. I like the full lettuce, tomato, onion experience as well. I like those kind of burgers. I like the big overflowing bag of fries. I like those little Smarties rolls. I liked what I saw from Seth Lugo. I liked his competitive fire. I like walking around between the different lands. Steve Kerr, though, I like that. I like living on the coast. I like watching Tiger still. I like the idea of that matchup. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I like the aloneness sometimes of Texas Hold'em. I like watching San Diego State basketball. I like those cashew-buttered cashews. I like cold, clear sake.
Too much. That's too much. That's the greatest thing ever.
And we are out of time, unsurprisingly. Annie Elston coming up next for Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods. I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you Monday morning. 6 a.m. right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long.